will start practicing yoga once you listen to our speakers. It is a moment of great pride for us that yoga, which has its roots in India, is today recognized and respected the world over. Yoga is not just the most scientific and healthy way of living, it is the perfect integration of mind, body, and soul. The theme for this year's International Yoga Day is Yoga for Self and Society. Let us understand from our speakers that what does it mean to them and how does it impact individuals, society, and the world. Before we start, I would like to welcome Dr. Anurag Batra, our chairman and editor-in-chief for BW Businessworld and founder for Exchange for Media, and ARG, who's here. And I would like to request Dr. Batra to please share his views on yoga and how it will impact self and society and how it will bring a better tomorrow.
Thank you, Bilkis, for putting this together. My pranams to everyone who joined. I would only say that I'm here to welcome all of you as part of BW Wellbeing World. Yoga and mindfulness are two areas. And third is sleep, which we keep talking about. We are doing a India sleep study. And today is the World Yoga Day. I can only say that in a world where there is so much strife, so much pressure, so much expectations, the only thing that keeps you sane, calm, and satisfied with yourself is yoga. Real wealth is health. Good health comes from doing yoga. I can only say that I have a lot more yoga to do, but I do my Jal Neti every morning religiously, which is what keeps my breath good. And I do my 20 to 30 minutes of yoga, which keeps me energetic and going full every day. So yoga is a practice which unites the mind, body, and soul, and really it helps us holistically. So practice yoga. I know we all are busy, but the real wealth is health. Yoga can help you get that health. It's a very basic message, but that's what I have to say. We at BW Wellbeing World, whether in our initiatives at the Wellbeing Festival or in our BW Wellbeing 40 under 40 or BW Wellbeing 30 under 30, we brought in leading yoga practitioners who are making sure that the world benefits from yoga, individuals benefit from yoga. I would say to all busy executives that taking out 45 minutes to an hour every day for yoga helps you do better in every aspect. So all the best, and my gratitude to all the yoga experts and yoga gurus who joined to be able to inspire and teach yoga to our viewers and our readers. Thank you. Back to you, Bilkis.
Thank you so much, sir. Very insightful, and I'm sure we'll follow what you have suggested. We have with us our first speaker for the webinar. He's a happiness ambassador, an accomplished author, a respected spiritual mentor, and a philanthropist. Kavi, over to you. Please take the conversation ahead with him.
Thank you so much, Bilkis. Welcome, Atma and Raviji. My first question actually to you, I'll just dive into the questions. My first question to you is, does regular practice of yoga lead to spiritual evolution?
Yoga and spiritual evolution. Thank you for having me on this call. Since you're directly asking me the connection between yoga and spiritual evolution, I must, with due respect, and make the word yoga be understood first of all. The word yoga comes from the ancient word yuj, and yuj means union. If we do not understand the origin of yoga, then we can do asana, pranayama, we can do yoga, but we will never get to the ultimate benefit of yoga. If yoga has to lead us to a spiritual evolution, then we must understand that yoga is unification of individual consciousness with universal consciousness. Unfortunately, as long as we are going to try to just have a unification between body, mind, and soul, then we will only touch the tip of the iceberg. We know very well that when we see an iceberg, we see 10% of the iceberg, 90% is hidden.
Yes, sir.
So the world has only understood 10% of yoga. 90% of yoga is not known. Even the famous sage Patanjali, whose yoga is followed, talked of the 8 limbs of yoga. If you go back to it, he talks of yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. And what we follow is only, most of us follow asana and pranayama. So if we want to use yoga for spiritual evolution, the first step is not just to do yoga, but to be in yoga, to be in union. And we can be in union, and this being in union will take us to that state known as enlightenment, spiritual awakening, self realization, different terms understood by the world. But yoga is the very key because a yogi is one who lives in yoga. He is not living in bhoga. And while asana, the physical aspect of yoga, is very good for uh, physical well being and balance, while pranayama is very good for breathing exercises. Some people follow Kriya yogas, like our beloved chairman spoke of Jal Nidhi, the exercise for it. All these are very good. All these are amazing. But this remains 10% of real yoga. It is only real yoga that can take us to that state of spiritual awakening.
Thank you so much, sir. That was really insightful. One more question on yoga with spirituality. What is the significance of yoga in our daily lives when we consider it so beneficial to make us actually embrace a 360-degree awareness level?
See, yoga is very important in our day to day life because what does yoga do? Yoga basically takes us away from bhoga. There are two states we can be in. Either we can be in a state of yoga or a state of bhoga. Now, when we are in yoga, in those moments, whether we do it for 30 minutes or 45 minutes, a true yogi can be in yoga 24 hours a day. But that is not just in physical and breathing, physical exercise and breathing. Therefore, on a day to day basis, it's good to start with uh, asana, pranayama. But in fact, before that, Patanjali talks of yama and niyama. Niyama are certain observances, yama are certain restraints. We, in this world today, we have no discipline. And because we have no discipline, we are completely out of shape in body and mind, not just physically out of shape. Some people, they say, instead of doing yoga, I go to the gym. Now, going to the gym is okay, but going to the gym is just physical exercise. Yoga should also not just be a physical exercise. What is this pranayama? When people are doing breathing techniques, right? What is it actually? When you are so engrossed in the breath, you are able to still the mind. And when you still the mind, you kill the mind. A mind which we cannot find. Therefore, on a day to day basis, if you ask me what is the relevance of yoga, on a day to day basis, we must use the art of yoga, the practice of yoga or being in yoga to move from a state of mind to a state of consciousness. When we are in this state of consciousness, we experience bliss known as Sat Chit Anand. But in fact, there are two streams. You can be in consciousness and get into yoga, or you can try to practice yoga and reach that state of consciousness. Because in yoga, we learn to withdraw from the attacks of the world. We learn contemplation, not just meditation, but meditation and contemplation, till we reach that state known as samadhi, that state known as chaturya, that state known as Sat Chit Anand. But this is not so complicated as these words may seem to be. What does it mean? Sat Chit Anand. It means truth consciousness, which gives you Anand or bliss. Therefore, on a day to day basis, we must be conscious about living in yoga. Just to give you a small example, I'm traveling today in Europe. If I have a SIM card and my SIM card is not connecting to the satellite, then I cannot have a good device to communicate
Absolutely.
with the world.
Absolutely.
What is yoga? In simple words, just like the SIM card connects to the satellite, yoga is the individual consciousness connecting to the supreme consciousness. And on a daily basis, if only we are able to, on a daily basis, continue this being in yoga. In fact, there are four ways of being in yoga. If you'd like to know more about what are the four ways of being in yoga, I discovered the fifth way of being in yoga. We can go on that path of discussion.
Okay, so Atma and Raviji, I really wanted, I'm a bit curious also about your views on this. Do you think we should incorporate yoga into our education system? A little bit about yoga in theory and maybe a little bit of practice as well.
Absolutely. In fact, the biggest problem in our education system is we are learning English and mathematics and science and computer technology, but we are not learning who am I and why am I here.
Yes,
Our education system needs to first get to the root of our existence. And the whole idea of getting into the root of our existence is our ancient dharma that we have been taught. And in our dharma, in our Sanatan dharma, as it's called, people don't even understand Sanatan dharma. It is
yes.
not a religion. We are not talking of religion. Yoga today is being practiced by people all over the world, irrespective of their religion. So, if you bring in yoga into the curriculum in schools and colleges, what you're doing is you're trying to explain to kids the purpose of education, the purpose of life. What are we taught in school? In school, we're only taught come first in class, be the captain
Yes.
of your cricket team, be the captain of school. But what will happen? Ultimately, this is not going to get us to the ultimate purpose and meaning of life. So I think your suggestion that there should be it should be part of a school curriculum is a great idea, and I think our country is moving in that direction slowly and steadily. I think because we are the yoga leaders of the world. The whole today, the whole world is respecting things like yoga, a concept like karma. These have become synonymous with the world. And therefore, it will be first practiced in India with our kids.
Okay, so just another question. When, as you said, our kids should also be aware of it, but when uh, yoga is brought up as a subject itself, uh, there's a lot of I won't say there are a lot of complications in it, but can yoga, like India is now becoming soon, it's becoming that's what's said is the anxiety and depression capital of the world. So do you think yoga can actually benefit anxiety and bring out people out of depression? And how can this also be explained to kids?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because when you're talking of anxiety and depression, let us try to understand what is the cause. We all know of that weapon called AK-47. The
Yes.
AK-47 destroys. But how many of us have thought of a more dangerous weapon called the MK50? We don't know that there is a weapon called MK50, and that MK50 is shooting at us 50 bullets every minute. It's called the mind killer. The mind killer MK50 is shooting at us 50,000 thoughts a day, my dear friend. Can you imagine 50,000 thoughts that are drilling us and killing us every day? Toxic thoughts. That's causing depression. That's causing anxiety. When you're having this concern, it's a concern throughout India, throughout the world. The anxiety has come from the West. The Western world has overflowed with anxiety, and now it is coming to India because we have started running behind success. Because in school, we are taught success is happiness. But success is not happiness. Happiness is success. We have got the equation wrong. What does yoga do? Yoga is the art of individual consciousness being united with supreme consciousness. In that state of this yoga, the mind is still. We still the mind, we kill the mind. Therefore, we reach a state of consciousness. In that state of consciousness, the intellect is activated. When
Yes.
the intellect is activated, we lock the mind, we block the mind. So we, therefore, fear, worry, stress, anxiety, regret, shame, and guilt. These seven monsters are eliminated from our life. Provided you are able to be in yoga. Don't tell me I'm practicing yoga. If you're only practice, if are you telling me that anybody who moves his hands up and down will eliminate anxiety? No. The only way to eliminate stress, fear, worry, anxiety is to be in a state of yoga, is to be in union with supreme consciousness, is to be conscious. We are not this body. We have a body. The body can do asana, but we have to realize when we try to find the mind, there is no mind. It is just a bundle of toxic thoughts. Yoga takes us there. Yoga takes us, what does Patanjali say? Yoga takes us to samadhi. Yoga takes us to that state of Sat Chit Anand. In Sat Chit Anand, which is truth consciousness, there's only bliss. There is no unhappiness. So that is the way to do it.
Thank you so much, Atma and Raviji. My last question to you, uh, a message for our viewers and for our youth on this yoga day, and anything else you would like to add apart from the things you've already spoken about.
My message to people on the World Yoga Day, start celebrating World Yoga Day on the 21st of June today, but continue celebrating it till the 21st of June next year. Don't let the yoga day be just a yoga day. Resolve today that you will make it a yoga year for you. When you make 1 year a year of yoga, you will be in such bliss. You will experience such happiness that you will make yoga a part of your life. Just like we breathe to live, we drink water, we eat, yoga should become an essential part of our life. Go deeper. Go deeper than the yoga you know. Try to get to the root of yoga, yuj, union,
Yes.
union of individual consciousness with supreme consciousness. So the message I am saying, don't just do yoga. Learn to be in yoga. Learn to be a yogi. And a yogi has no stress, no depression, no anxiety, no worry, no fear. Because a yogi lives a life of enlightenment. A yogi is spiritually awakened. And the practice of yoga will take you forward from a mumukshu, a jigyasu, a gyani, a yogi, a buddha, a sthit pragya, a jivan mukta, a satchidanand atma. There are 8 stages, but that will only happen if you let yoga become your lifestyle and don't try to do yoga. My ultimate word to you, be in yoga, be a yogi, experience the bliss of truth consciousness because there is no need to worry, there is no need to fear. What did we bring with us? Nothing. What will we take with us? Nothing. Then what are we running this race? What are we trying to be in this chase to be an ace? It's only because of bhoga, and bhoga is the enemy of yoga. If you're in yoga, then you're out of bhoga. But if you're in bhoga, if you're just running this race, you may achieve all the money and the wealth in the world, but you will not have the true wealth of peace, of love, and of bliss. These are my words. Let us, on the World Yoga Day, evolve from what the world understands as yoga. Just a tiny bit. If you talk to any evolved yogic master, he will tell you yoga is huge. Yoga is individual consciousness becoming one with supreme consciousness. I wish everybody uh, the best on this, the 21st of June, the World Yoga Day, a day to start a transformation, a day to become a yogi, and a day to live in truth consciousness.
Thank you so much, sir. It was a pleasure talking to you. Very insightful. Thank you for taking out time for us, and I'm sure our audience, our listeners have benefited a lot. So thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bilkis, up back to you.
Thank you so much, Kavi. Thank you, ARG. We'll move to our second speaker. We are joined by Daniela Radonik Bhandari, lovingly called as Dana. She's an integrative well-being counselor. She's the founder of Dana Veda and a certified yoga teacher. Dana ji, are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
We
Can you
can't
hear
see
me?
your video, please.
Sorry. Let me just see what exactly happened. Just allow me a second.
So a few more words about Dana ji. As a consummate health and well-being practitioner, she has spent almost 30 years in the medical and wellness space and has been trained by some of the well-known yoga teachers. She has been into clinical hypnotherapy, NLP, yoga and meditation, nutrition and health, and she strongly believes in the benefits of integrating science and spirituality. She also integrates allopathy medicine with alternate therapies, and she has been using technology to support yoga. And also, she has been into well-being counseling for a very, very long time. Dana ji, are you able to fix the video issue that you're having?
I really don't know what the issue is because I checked the camera and it was working. So
Ma'am,
It's
if
all
you
right.
can try it again, if that won't be an issue.
yes, if you can send it to me again, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay, sure.
Should we move to our next speaker in that case?
Okay, sure, we can do that if that's okay with you.
Yeah, we'll come back to you, ma'am.
Okay, certainly. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Our next speaker is Archana Chakravarti ji. Hi, Archana ji. Good morning and happy yoga day to you.
Namaste. Happy yoga day.
Namaste. Namaste. Archana ji, please tell us something about yourself first. And then we would like to understand from you that how yoga is relevant in today's life and how yoga helps specifically working women.
Right. You know my name. I'm from Ayushman Yoga. I'm a lead teacher trainer in Ayushman Yoga. I've been teaching yoga, prenatal yoga, especially focusing on pregnant women and kids and senior citizens over the past a little less than a decade. And I believe yoga se hoga. I believe in this very well. All right. That's about me. And
What
yeah,
are the different
yoga
types
day.
of yoga that you practice and you teach?
Oh, if you look at my chair, you'll know that I teach Iyengar yoga as well, a bit of it. I was able to learn a bit of Iyengar yoga where they use a lot of props in therapeutically treating people with some kind of illnesses, like maybe back pain or a knee pain or something like that. Yeah. So let's talk about the next question that you put me to. Yoga day, right? Yeah, the work for working women. I would like to start by wishing everybody a happy International 10th Yoga International Day of Yoga. Now, I'm actually glad that they've declared a day for yoga, right? But don't you think every day should be a yoga day? Like
Correct.
Atman
Yeah.
Ravi is also telling, start from today till the next year. I feel that too. Just like how we have a Mother's Day or a Women's Day or a Father's Day, we're celebrating that person on that day, right? Just like that, but then don't we feel happy to have them in our lives every day?
Correct.
The same way I feel that yoga should be a part of our everyday life, right?
Correct.
Now, this father or this woman or this mother talking about working women here. When they go to work, they go to work with an intention of earning money or setting up their career, their profession, taking care of their family, right? Now, when that is happening, we have been conditioned since very olden days. We've been conditioned that we should not be thinking about ourselves, which will be kind of selfish, right? Yeah, some of us do think that way when we spend some time for ourselves. Instead, let's look at how it creates a ripple effect, when we take care of ourselves. Right? Yeah, the first thing I would like to talk about is when we take care of ourselves, having a good practice for ourselves, we influence and we motivate our family members, immediate family members. Now, this we take it to the office, to our colleagues, to our friends. They start to get influenced and motivated by us to have their own practice. They form again small units of practice. Now, all this while I'm talking about having a proper yoga practice every morning, taking out some time in our busy schedules and having yoga as a part of our life. Right?
That very beautifully takes us to the topic that we are celebrating during this yoga day, which is self and society. So right from self to family to society, it is going forward in that manner, and it is a very beautiful way of putting it, what you have done, right?
Thank you. Thank you. And yeah, at this point, I would also like to talk about when we take out the time for ourselves, that little time, be it half an hour, be it 10 minutes, if you don't have time at all, be it 10 minutes, moving our body, simple mindful movements like Surya Namaskar works on all the fitness aspects, the body balance, the fitness, I mean, name it, all the aspects of fitness, right? And then mindfully breathing, deep breaths, right? And then moving on to maintaining some silence early in the morning to start the day on a positive note. Now, this working woman again goes to the work, starts her work. Now, here we feel almost all of us have a 9-day work hour. I mean, in India or maybe all over the world, I feel that is happening. When we take it about 9 hours, we can calculate it as per this. We see most of the waking hours of a person, be it a woman or a man, working person, spends waking hours over there, like in office, which means it plays a very crucial role in our own personality, in the development of our own personality, with the kind of people that we meet and the kind of posture that we maintain throughout, right? Now, I would like to use this platform to urge all the people in the managerial or the leadership roles to get a little break time for their employees and have a little small practice of yoga, which, I mean, it's a good news for all the people in leadership and people in business that it is going to enhance their productivity. If that
Archana ji, it's a very good platform wherein we can, learn a couple of stretching and some yoga exercises which everybody can do while they're on their desk. So please
I'm
tell
coming
us.
to that. Yeah.
Yes, please tell us.
So allow me a little time while I set it up.
Yes.
It's going to be a blur background. Yeah. Right.
And I would request everybody who's present here, if they can put on their cameras and we can all try and do the same exercises.
Since it is an office setup, I've got a chair which might be in an office. Now, if you have chairs with wheels, I would advise you all to go back, maybe turning away from your screen and putting your chair back to the desk or towards the wall. For now, you can't do that because maybe you might want to watch me doing this. Now, in an office setup, what is the most important thing that we feel as a posture is helping us in sitting up tall? The spine, right? Now, sitting up tall, the length of the spine is really going to help us in keeping our spine health throughout our life. Now, let's see, there are 5 movements of the spine that we're going to practice today. These are simple movements. Just take less than 10 minutes. Okay, trust me. Taking a break in your office time, I would like to name something like break and balance. Okay, so sit up tall. Now let's see how the length in the spine is going to help us in moving into the other 4 movements of the spine. Okay, try to create that length. Sit up tall. If you need it, come away from the backrest of the chair. Come forward. Sitting with your feet on the mat, or sorry, I'm so used to doing that. Sitting your feet down on the floor. Sit tall. Now, take your hands up overhead, interlacing your fingers. Bring your palms facing up towards the ceiling. Keeping your shoulders relaxed. Sit up tall. Root through your sit bones and try to grow a little more taller. Okay, as we do that, we also might want to lengthen the side body. Okay, as if you're trying to fill a sack. Try to lengthen your spine. Relax your shoulders into the sockets. Now, from here, let's see how this length is helping us in going into a lateral bending. Either hold on to the chair or, if available, drop your hand down, the right hand down, and taking your left hand over towards the right side and look up towards the ceiling. Now, don't just notice the hand movement. Notice what's happening in your mind. Notice what's happening with your body. Notice if you're keeping your shoulder open, the left shoulder open. Notice if your sternum is lifted up. All these aspects. Just don't focus on the movement. The hand and leg movement can happen, but then notice what's happening as you do these movements, what's happening in your mind. That is yoga. Stretching really is good. I would accept that, and it is a universal truth. Stretching is good, and then go on to the other side and then come back here. But however, when you add a breath to the movement and notice what's happening inside, that is what is helping us more than just stretching. Right? That is the second movement. Now we move on to the third one, where you need to actually move forward a little bit on your chair. Take your hands back or hold on to the armrest. And then lift your sternum and go into a little back bend here. Arch your back, lift up, lift your sternum up. Consider the neck to be a part of your spine and lift up. And then release. Now again, the length is coming back. Taking your hands up overhead. Feel that length in the spine as you move forward and down. If available, drop your hand down. If not, just stay here. Okay? Now, if you're able to drop down completely, drop the crown of the head down towards the floor. And feel the benefits of calming the nervous system as you take that forward fold. Again, as you inhale, come up. We move into the last movement of the spine, taking the right hand to the left armrest of the chair and taking your left hand behind. Try to take a twist. Now, I would like to chant the mantra here while I go into a twist. The mantra is inhale and lengthen your spine and exhale and twist. So the mantra, inhale, lengthen your spine, exhale and twist. So the longer you stay in this, the longer you have to chant this mantra. Otherwise, what happens? I'll show it to the other side. Otherwise, what happens? When you go here and when you tend to round your back, the twist is not happening so much. As much as you're creating that length and twisting the body. Again, the same mantra here also, and then slowly come up. That completes the spine movements. Let's move on to the neck. How the neck carries a lot of stress, right? Now, a few movements similar to the spine. Neck is a part of spine, right? Now, bring your chin towards the chest and chin up towards the ceiling. Again, chin towards the chest as you breathe out. Inhaling, chin up towards the ceiling. Coming back to the center. A couple of movements. I'm just doing it once or twice. Maybe you can include 5 movements, 5 times. Now, dropping your right ear to the right shoulder and left ear to the left shoulder. We're not just focusing on the ear and shoulder, we're also focusing on the stretch that we feel on the other side. Come back to the center, right ear to the right shoulder, again, left ear to the left shoulder. Coming back to the center. Now, turn your chin towards the right shoulder, back to the center, left shoulder, back to the center. Okay, right shoulder back to the center. Exhale, left shoulder back to the center. Now, bring your chin up towards the ceiling and roll your head right ear to the right shoulder, roll it back, left ear to the left shoulder, rolling the neck from side to side. And then coming back to the center. Now we'll move on to the hands and wrist, most important for all the IT people, right? Stretch your hands forward, make a fist, tight fist of your palms and open. Make a tight fist and open. Tight fist and open. Adding a breath to this movement and feeling the sensations that we feel on the hands, on the fingers. Trust me, people who work on the system long hours will definitely appreciate this movement. And then finally go into a fist and then take a few circles with the wrist, clockwise and anti-clockwise. And relax. Focusing on the sensations that we feel on the body while we do these movements actually makes it yoga. Now, I have 3 more movements for the legs, lower body. Hope it is okay for me to go on a little more.
Yes, Ms. Chakravarti, please.
Yeah. Now, bring your right ankle over the left knee. Okay. Crossing it over just till here. Okay. Now, again, the length is coming back. Lengthen your spine. Take your hands up. Exhaling. Try to bring your chest towards your shin. If this feels okay, just stay here. You're already feeling a good stretch in the right outer thigh here. If you're feeling good, you can stay here, relax. If you want to go more, you can take your hands down and allow the crown of the head to drop down. Relax here. And then slowly come back up. And then move on to the other side. Now, while we sit on the system, on the chair and using the system for long hours, this is the body part which is affecting us. Right? Sitting is the next smoking or something, as injurious as that, right? And inhale, lengthen, exhale, and again a forward fold either here or go down, reaching your fingertips down. Again, inhale, slowly come up and release. Relax. Now, there is another movement which will help either in seated or if you have enough space, you can stand and do this movement. Lifting the toes up and lifting the heels up. Toes up and then the heels up. Toes and the heels. A couple of times. Notice what's happening in the calf as you do this movement. The last one. I hope I'm not taking too much time into these movements, but these are really good, beneficial for people.
Not at all, ma'am. It's really nice for you to do this for us.
Thank you. Turn your right knee to the side and drop your left knee down. Okay? Notice this feels heaven for people who have tight hips. This gives a lot of mobility to the hip joint. Now, turning it this side, hold on to your armrest and move on to the other side. Now, this movement is inspired by an asana in yoga practice called Shaitalyasana. Okay, for a very long time, I did not know that there exists a pose like this. I saw people doing this movement, but I never know all this is coming from yoga. How beautiful it is to when I got to know about this. That is the last movement for today, but I have a few more things to talk about, if that is okay.
Sure, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. We have 1 minute more for you.
Okay, all right. Then a very short breathing practice I would like to do. Take a big breath in. Go ahead and close your eyes, keeping your spine long. And breathe out completely. Just focusing on the breath. Breathe in. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out. 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out. 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out. 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to quickly add one more practice. Okay, I want to connect to the breath and to the thought. That's the reason. Okay, here I'm going to do a practice called box breathing or Samavritti Pranayam, where we breathe in for 4 counts, we hold the breath in for 4 counts, we breathe out for 4 counts, and we hold the breath out for 4 counts. Let's go ahead and do this practice. Take a big breath in, preparing. Breathe out completely. Breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath out, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're practicing, please go ahead and close your eyes and breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4, and relax.
Wow, that was very, very refreshing and absolutely rejuvenating. While sitting whole day in office, if you do these exercises, these flexibility exercises, I think it is going to work wonders.
How the breath, holding of the breath, takes us to a kind of no thought state. For a moment, you might feel, but this is a very short practice. But if you go on, maybe for a minute, this will definitely take us to a no thought state. We are only focusing on the breath.
Very,
Thank
very
you so much.
insightful, Archana ji. Thank you so much for being with us. And we
We would
hope to
like you
see
to
you
stay
very
safe.
soon again.
On behalf of Ayushman Yog, I would like to thank you all for having us over here in this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you so
Miss
much,
Dana.
ma'am. Over to you, Kavi.
So Bilkis, Miss Dana has joined us, and
Yeah.
she'll be speaking now.
Uh,
Uh,
Dena ji, please tell us. Yeah, Sanjana, please go ahead.
so we have a live question. If anybody of the speaker would like to answer. So the question is from Sangeeta Mahindro. What is yoga and what is the difference between yoga and yoga?
Can you repeat, Sanjana?
What is the difference between yoga and yoga?
Any of
Ar-
our speakers would like to
Archana ji,
take
do
it?
you feel there is a difference between yoga and yoga, or is it the same thing?
Being in a state of yoga, yeah. That is the difference I could see. There is actually no difference. Some people call it yoga, some people call it yoga.
Okay, thank you. I hope Sangeeta ma'am, you might have got your answer. Thank you. Yes, Kavisa, please go ahead.
Thank you, Sanjana. Miss Dana, you may please begin your uh, short speech with us.
Thank you. So I truly enjoyed Atman Indraviji's session. So as he mentioned, yoga is not only something to be practiced, it is a state. So when we say yoga, as Archana ji mentioned, so we are in that state of unity, right? I apologize for this, my video not working initially, but I think I really had to go through Archana's ji's session as well. So I thank her for that. It was really, really nice. Yeah, thank you for your introduction, Bilkis. When it comes to yoga and holistic well-being, that you wanted me to talk about. Instead of, let's say, just talking about yoga and giving in theory or in practical, as Archana ji has done, I would like to just connect maybe what I want to convey to my personal experience, because taking our audience not only as through all the theory, but through something that one has lived and truly experienced and benefited from, I think would be maybe interesting bridge to connect
Absolutely.
our audience
Absolutely.
to the practice of yoga. So first of all, to understand that holistic well-being is such a vast, comprehensive approach, not only to our health, but to our overall existence. And before we explore the interconnectedness which holistic well-being has with yoga, it's essential to have clarity about what all encompasses us as human beings and how all these different elements of who we are, of our existence, um, kind of make us whole and complete. So in general, we usually refer to physical, energy, mental, emotional, spiritual bodies, and the wholeness. When I say wholeness, it's with W, whole, of our existence, holds the utmost importance in the evaluation and consideration of our health. As in holistic approach, we recognize how all these different components are interconnected and how certain imbalances in one area can actually impact some other areas too. So let me just share certain key aspects of holistic well-being and yoga, and how yoga's powerful impact and contribution to holistic well-being, which I have witnessed be it with my clients, in work with my clients, with people who are close to me, or as I said, personally, while practicing yoga for the last 19 years. So let's begin what I mentioned as first body layer as being a physical health, the impact which it has on physical health. So practicing yoga, as we all know, involves various postures or asanas, and it really helps us build strength, improve flexibility. So many years back, when I had a fracture on my foot, of my right foot, I was in a plaster. Still, it didn't, stop me from practicing yoga daily to my capacity at that moment. Since yoga is not only related to our physical body, of course, I had benefits on many other levels, but still, I was able to maintain certain level of flexibility, strength in many other areas of my physical body, despite being so to say disabled to move as much as I would have wanted to due to my leg being in a plaster. So irrespective of what your body, in what condition your body is, there is always a way to find what suits you. So it's very important to have right guidance, somebody who is going to guide you through and assist you in the process of you finding where you stand at when it comes to your physical condition as you are beginning, or wherever you are right now, and where you want to be and what all you can implement. So even while having certain injury, you can still practice and achieve or maintain particular amount of certain amount of strength and flexibility, and also besides strength and flexibility, since yoga requires certain balance, it actually enhances our stability and coordination as well. So I see so many people who can't even walk properly, or who do not have proper balance and stability, and it's not only about physical body. So when you practice balancing postures, balancing asanas. It impacts your mental capacity, your balance in life overall, your stability overall. But I will come back to that when we go through mental aspect. There are certain styles, that more dynamic styles of yoga, such as vinyasa, ashtanga, which also improve your cardiovascular endurance. So there are different ways in which yoga can really help you when it comes to physical level. Then we have second level, which would be our mental health and the impact which yoga has on our mental health. And stress reduction can never be obviously over emphasized, since yoga certainly has tremendous role to play when it comes to mental health. First of all, including regular breathing exercises or pranayama, followed by meditation in our regular practice, and regularity is the key, truly helps de-excite and calm our nervous system. In that way, even when I work with my clients in, let's say, hypnotherapy or anything else that people would come to me for, I would always direct them to practice of certain pranayama, and of course meditation, because nervous system, calmer nervous system, so moving from sympathetic to parasympathetic nervous system, helps us in so many numerous ways. Ladies come to me wanting to lose weight. So many people are still not aware that weight loss can be so much related to us spending more time in, being in that sympathetic action, thoughts, rushing, too stressed in that kind of mode. So the moment we shift from sympathetic to parasympathetic mode, the entire system calms down, the stress hormones get reduced. It just impacts our system in so many ways that actually it helps even with weight loss. I remember when I studied at the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, there was an example of a lady who was into so much of cardio. She was running every day. She was exercising for like several hours a day. Still, she couldn't lose weight. She went for a yoga retreat, I think for 2 weeks. And in those 2 weeks, there was no such rigorous exercise, but she was practicing asanas, she was practicing pranayama, she was practicing meditation. She went into that slow mode and she lost, I forgot how many kilos, but there's something called slow down diet. It's actually a way of telling us that we can actually move much further and much faster sometimes by slowing down. So I think that would be the kind of shortest way I would explain this. And when it comes to shifting from your parasympathetic to your sympathetic nervous system, I always tell people the simplest way to do so is just to focus on your abdominal breathing. You can even place your palm on your stomach and just go into the way babies breathe. So basically, as we inhale, we inflate our belly. As we exhale, we just deflate it, so the belly goes back towards the spine. The simplest, yet very, very impactful way of making that switch from stress and activity to rest, digest mode. So in addition, when we are stress-free or our stress is reduced, it has shown huge impact on enhancement of our focus and mental clarity, which of course leads to much better decision making, problem solving skills. And again, as a testament to this, I have a personal experience where I had a significant impact of yoga on, let's say, my academic performance, because I went to some higher education for some higher education studies even at this age, and I could see the impact yoga would have on me. Actually, I would see the impact when I wasn't able, let's say, to practice on certain days, how I would feel and how much I would be able to achieve. So I would always tell all my students, clients, to incorporate all this when they are dealing with stress, when they are dealing with their exams, overall with the studies, and of course for working people and women who are handling a lot, and I mean everyone can benefit from that, right? Then again, related to our mental well-being is our emotional well-being as well, as our emotions are directly connected to our thoughts. And in that way, yoga can certainly help us balance our emotions, hence, again, achieving that balance in all different areas of life. It can, as Atmanin Raviji mentioned, it can really help in reducing anxiety, in dealing with depression as well. And here, again, for balancing, something that, again, very simple tool, which I always like to share and guide my clients to do, is simple Nadi Shodhan Pranayam. So Nadi Shodhan Pranayam means alternate nostril breathing, where we inhale through one nostril, exhale through the other, inhale through that one, exhale. I mean, I wouldn't have time to really guide you through the process, but I'm sure that actually most of our audience knows about it, or they can inform themselves further about it. When we are in balance, there is so much that happens, and that, how do I say, I will give you an example. So I was traveling, and I went to one wonderful place where there was a lady who was doing auric scanning of the aura. So she meets thousands of people per year. So she scanned my aura, and she told me, "What is it that you do?" So I told her, I don't know what exactly you refer to. So she said there are rare people who come to me for aura scanning, who are so balanced, who have such nice balance of their left and right. So we have Ida Nadi, Pingala Nadi, Sushumna Nadi. I mean, we have these um, two different sides, let's say, to us. So one side is more of a moon, action, analytical, logical mind. It's more of a masculine. The other one is more of a, that's the sun, and the other one is more of a moon, and creativity and emotions, and more of a feminine. So when we are in balance, who I am when I am in balance? I am somebody who is completely aligned with both with my mental and my creative self. I balance my masculine and my feminine. We all have this. We balance our left and right hemisphere of the brain as well. So there is so much that happens when we do this. So please, I really urge you to try and practice this. And then the last element would be our spiritual well-being, of course, and through then, as we have practices such as pranayama and then meditation, through meditation. So there is lots of self-reflection, self-awareness, mindfulness, conscious living, which fosters much deeper connection to ourselves. So what happens when we live unconsciously? We keep on repeating the patterns of Atman Ravaji was mentioning sorrow and so many different emotions which are not wanted. Sometimes even we get into victimhood mode. But then once we begin to live consciously, we begin to go beyond such patterns. And the true discipline, and yoga is a discipline, is truly empowering. So how to embark on such a journey? Just start with one breath at a time, one step at a time, and move on. So Bilgis, I'm not so sure how much more time I have.
I think it's very beautifully that you have connected all the elements together, and you have very beautifully told us how all these things are interconnected, and
Yes,
you have
yes,
told
it's all
your
in there.
stories from your life, and it has been very insightful. Daniela, I'm afraid we are short of time, and there are other speakers who
Okay,
are waiting in
sure,
queue.
sure.
Thank you so
So
much for being with us.
thank you.
And
I just wanted to mention that International Yoga Day. I can see Vesna is there. Um, she's the next one. I was sharing actually with her last night. International Yoga Day happens to be just day before my birthday, and for me, yoga really represents the celebration of life. And I always consider this day to be the most beautiful, enriching way of bringing in my birthday. So while this commitment which I have towards nourishing, nurturing, supporting myself is really awarding me with living a healthy, meaningful, and joyful life. I think celebrating yoga, I actually celebrate life, and I continue to deepen this vow, which I've given to myself, to continue to support myself so that I could be supporting others to the best of my
that's very
ability.
beautiful and very,
So,
very
Thank you so
inspirational.
much, Mr.
yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Kavi, can we move to
Yeah, sure.
Dr. Pooja now? She is there.
Okay.
Dr. Pooja, can you please put on your camera? Hi and good morning. Namaskar. Happy Yoga Day to you.
Namaskar and happy Yoga Day to all of you.
Thank
It
you
was an
so much.
immense pleasure to hear everybody from Ravi, Archana, and Dana to speak, and they actually have described the elephant from what they see. So there's this very interesting story of how an elephant can be described. It's not an easy thing, and to describe yoga is even more impossible. But they have all done a fantastic job. So thank you, Bilkis, for inviting me to this
Thank you,
group.
Pooja ji, for joining. And Kavi, over to you. Please
Sure.
take it forward.
Thank you, Bilkis. Welcome, Dr. Sharma. Um, So basically, Dr. Pooja Sharma is a gynecologist, founder APAR Health, patient-centric research, and a yoga practitioner. Dr. Pooja is a gynecologist and has a clinical researcher and research enabler with 25 years of experience in clinical research at AIMS New Delhi, has led the team at Medanta Institute of Education Research for 12 years. She is the chairperson of several ethics committees and is academic advisor at GD Goenka University, Gurugram, and the founder of APAR Health, which focuses on patient-centric research. A mother of two, she's an avid yoga practitioner. So, ma'am, my first question to you would be that when when you think of when we all think of yoga, we think of poses and breathing. Uh, but I just wanted to ask you, according to your research, do you personally feel that yoga is very beneficial for the mind, body, and soul alignment?
So, Kavi, I had the opportunity to work because I'm modern medicine, and for several years, of course, my parents and everybody around me was doing yoga. But I used to always think, I'll start when I'm a little older, maybe when I have a disease or so. I'm fit now. Why bother about it? And, I'm good. So why do I need to do yoga? I managed to find a few researchers, who were working on integration of modern medicine, yoga, and Ayurveda. And it was a great opportunity and a great eye opener for me. So we worked primarily in two areas that I would like to share with you. One was when you have bypass surgery. So we used to do breathing exercises for people who were having planned bypass surgeries. So this was just a week-long breathing exercises were given to them. So what I'm trying to say is that even a week can make so much of a difference. So they would practice these exercises for a week, and then they would undergo the routine bypass procedure. And we found out that almost 2 days of ICU stay were decreased. So that decreased the cost of the treatment, that improved healing much faster. So that was an eye opener for me that, just 1 week of breathing can make so much of a difference. Uh, Secondly, when COVID struck, it was an eye opener for, I think, everybody, and for healthcare workers, it was even more so because we were faced with not only the stress of ourselves being at risk of COVID, of taking COVID home, but also seeing so many losses of lives in a day. I mean, there was a friend of mine who's a critical care physician. I mean, critical care physicians are used to losing patients in a day. But at this time, they were losing 40 patients in one day, 50 patients in one day. The patient would come in and leave. It was traumatic. You cannot imagine how difficult it is for doctors. So we actually did a small research project for, breathing, focused breathing and meditation practices using these yogic breathing as was demonstrated by Archana also to actually reduce stress. And we found that, and this was published in one of the neurology journals, that there was an immense improvement of the quality of sleep. And that quality of sleep is so important for a person who's going to go back to the ICU tomorrow and treat another lot of patients. Right?
Yes.
Definitely, yoga is very, very critical. And I started yoga, like I think Dana was sharing. I would like to share a little bit of my journey as well. I started yoga in the second inning of my life, when post COVID, when I saw so many of my friends, leaving and realizing that, this is now or never. Abhi nahi start kiya to kabhi nahi start hoga. And I must say that it was an eye opener. One, everybody must realize that they can do it. It's not a very difficult thing. It's not necessary to be able to touch your toes, right? Touching the toes is most unimportant. It's only important to be conscious of what you're doing. And like everybody actually has said, that it makes you more conscious, it makes you a better human being, it makes you more connected to yourself. So that is the power and purpose of yoga, is what I think from my journey.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sharma. My next question to you is, can yoga help women during their hormonal changes during menopause? Also, as their emotional disturbances, mood swings, extreme changes in behavior of middle-aged women at times, which may occur. So, how can yoga help?
Okay, so let me tell you that my family says that, Pooja, when you started, and I was menopausing, by the way, and that, Pooja, when you started, you've gone from, the scary dragon queen to the very, very happy dancing Buddha. So the smiling Buddha. So that's what I've become. And it really makes a lot of difference. I think women, I mean, and it's not, it's that very interesting thing that we say at the end of every session of yoga, the Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti,
Yes.
is something that I have interpreted to myself. And I believe that it's a really interesting interpretation that I like to share with you, Kavi, is that,
So,
the first Shanti is for myself. So let me be at peace. So the yoga helps me find peace for myself. And Archana mentioned this, I think. And the next piece is for people around me. Okay. So the scary menopausal puja was driving my husband and my family nuts. So definitely the next level of peace is to the rest of my family and the friends and my team around me, who's now not so worried. She's not going to be yelling anymore. And the third level of peace goes to the universe around me and the extended, systems. What we most of us try to do is we say that we will first solve the world's problems. That, I will be very active and busy in my job. and I will solve the global warming ki problem pehle, and then I will solve the problem of the traffic jam in Medanta, in Gurgaon, and then I will solve the problem of myself going nuts. That's how we work. So we just need to reverse that, and yoga really helps.
Dr. Sharma, there are some common myths or misconceptions about women's health and how women separate fact from fiction. What are common barriers to women's health and empowerment?
That's a very difficult question. I really don't know. It's a very, very big space. Women's health, I think health is a very big space.
Yes.
Barriers, I think the first barrier to everything and anything is yourself. So
Yes.
if you are open and you are prepared and you want to make a change, change can happen. Any change can happen. So it's a question of what kind of a change are you looking for, and whether it is health. If you are driving your change for your health, change will happen.
Dr. Sharma, how can yoga be used to promote social justice and well-being in society as a whole?
So as I mentioned that it's a very, I the happiest 10 minutes in my day actually start with the yoga batch, right? They're a really, they're a very interesting group of people where I go, they have no hang-ups. They may be CEOs, I may not, or they may be generally, homemakers, or, so I'm not a director. There's nobody who's a CEO. Everybody is just who they are, and that is a very comfortable space. It's a happy space. So it's important for us all to be accepting of other people, and yoga sort of creates that space of acceptance, right? So whether you're talking about social justice or social equality or whatever, it's all about accepting, right? So
Yes.
who first accepting who I am, then being able to accept who the person around me or with me is, and just enjoying him for that. And if you can do that, I think this injustice will anyway just disappear.
Absolutely, Dr. Sharma. That was very well answered. Just my last question before I let you go. I know I'm taking up too much of your time. How can yoga also promote community building and some examples of yoga initiative that can support such community building?
So, Kavi, I've seen that in this summer itself, I've seen, yoga camps or yoga groups being organized for small children. There are a lot of yoga mom volunteers now. I see in my own colony, children are getting up in the morning. 10 years back, this getting up in the morning, summer break meant oversleeping. No longer. Today, I see young children doing whatever they're doing, and they do it so naturally and so beautifully. So, women driving it, mothers driving, let's do some yoga, let's do 15 minutes of yoga. And even if then there is the group of elderly men who is doing the laughter yoga, right? Then there's the women who are actually doing the breathing exercises. So, in the morning, you get up in the park, there's so many people doing different kinds of yoga. And the beauty of yoga is there's something there for everybody in it. So if you're having arthritis, you can still do a lot of yoga. If you are, you are whatever you have, there is so much still more to do. And today itself, so while Bilkis was kind enough to invite me, since 7 a.m. in the morning, we are doing different yoga sessions. So there was a yoga session of my group, then there was 2 school sessions of yoga. So community has awoken to yoga. And I think we should keep this awareness, whether they are doing it brilliantly or not. It's like, when you start teaching small children, तो हर कोई line straight नहीं बनाता है, कोई टेढ़ी बनाता है, कोई squiggly बनाता है. जैसे भी बना रहे हैं, बनाने दो, सबको योगा करने दो, is what I feel. They may not do it perfectly, let them do it.
Thank
Yoga
you,
will
Dr.
find them. So
Thank you so
yoga will
much.
find them, then you don't have to find yoga.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Sharma. And it was very
One last
insightful.
question from Dr. Pooja I would like to ask. You've been into patient-centric research. How would you incorporate yoga also as a part of patient-centric research? And have you done any initiatives? Have you started anything in that direction?
So, Bilkis, yoga is a way of living. And when there are people who are having health issues, especially, chronic diseases, whether it's cancer or whether it's diabetes or whether it's kidney disease, there is a lot of stress. So there have been integrative programs that we've created, research programs, and like you said, patient centricity, because when you talk to a patient who's having an oral cancer, what is his concern is not how many months he's going to live, whether he's going to live 6 months or 6.5 months. His question is, can I swallow? Can I sleep? Can I be pain free? Right? Those are his concerns, right? Versus the half a year, half a month that, modern medicine will add to his repertoire. So it's important to integrate these. So now we started doing a lot of integrated protocols in which we are integrating, whether it is yoga, whether it is meditation, whether it's breathing, whether it is Ayurvedic treatments into modern medicine treatments, so that we can improve overall quality of life. You cannot differentiate this from that as long as the patient quality is important. So patient is the center of what we are trying to treat, right?
Thank you.
That's
Thank you.
very, very insightful. Thank you so much, Pooja, for being with us. And it was lovely speaking to you and listening to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Bye
Thank
from
you.
the Laughing
Thank
Buddha.
you.
I'm going to call myself. I like Atman and Ravi. I'm going to be Laughing Buddha.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We have our next speaker with us. Sanjana, over to you. Kindly introduce and please take it forward.
Vesta ma'am, can you turn on your video, please? Your camera, please. Hi. So let me begin with your small introduction, which we prepared. So holistic fitness guru Vesna ji is one of the most forward-thinking mind in fitness, wellness, and healing in India. She is a former national level basketball player from Bosnia who turned into fitness and wellness as a profession following a career ending with injury. She is a physiotherapist, author, accomplished Pilates teacher, and integrated yoga teacher, functional applied science specialist as well. Vesnaji is also a lifestyle coach, motivational speaker, and clinical hypotherapist as a healer. So, ma'am, my first question would be, Namaste. My first question would be, so this year theme, we have yoga for self, right? So what is your views on that?
Well, first and foremost, thank you so much, and happy International Day to Yoga to everyone, and to Daniela also happy birthday in advance. And see, yoga is gaining a worldwide prominence and popularity, which brings me a great joy. But for people of definitely from India who have been having yoga as part of their upbringing and part of their lives, we also understand that it's time to go back to roots. It's time to validate and acknowledge the traditional approaches and recognize how still relevant and even more so relevant they are in the current day and age, because life has become much faster. It has become much more complex and complicating, and therefore the self-care practices and strengthening the inner self is becoming more and more important, because we are living by and large very outward life, and we are bombarded with so many stimuli, with so many temptations, with so many things that are happening all over ourselves. So I think kind of using the traditional and ancient methods to ground yourself, to get back into yourself, is the only way of creating that balance. Because why are we talking so much about lifestyle issues? Why are we talking about lifestyle diseases? Why are we talking so much about mental health? It's not only that we are becoming more aware of their importance, but the reality is they are on the rise. And they are on the rise because the lifestyles have changed, temptations have changed, lives have changed, and our body, our soul, our mind, it craves the balance. And the only way we can actually bring that balance is by bringing the attention within and taking care of oneself.
Okay, that was lovely, ma'am. So my next question would be, can you describe the main benefits of combining Pilates and yoga into the integrated approach, in your integrated approach?
See, when you were making an introduction about me, I mean, it sounds like a huge thing, but to me, it all flows into one another, and one is not separate from another. We are living in this body, but we are not this body. We are our mind, we are our emotions, we are our soul. Our body is our vehicle, which is helping us do various things. It's almost like this amazingly powerful instrument, which, if it doesn't function properly, not only we cannot do what we want, but also it affects our emotional health, it's affecting our mental health. So my journey with the entire movement field and healing field, and eventually yoga, meditation, and the hypnotherapy in the end, all stemmed from the need when I, as a young athlete, had an injury and I wasn't getting better. So, little voice in my mind told me, and that was the first time I meditated. Back then, I did not know that was a meditation. I have injured my knee 7 days to signing my first professional contract. And I was told that I will never walk again without the limb. I will never be able to use my body the way I was used to, that my professional career was over, and that I will never be able to sit cross-legged or use my body the way I was used to. That, of course, led to a lots of frustration, lots of crying, lots of anger, lots of emotional upheaval, because basketball was my anchor. It was what I was supposed to do in life. It was my mission, was to play basketball. And that gotten me onto the path of exploration of the movement. When I sat down to meditate first time, a little voice in my mind told me my body could heal, it could recover, and I just needed to find a way. And when I got out of that space, I was like, okay, what do I stand to lose? I mean, I was told I will not be able to do anything. So if I'm able to do a little bit better than that, it's better to where I was. And as I started exploring the movement and eventually gotten into physiotherapy because of that, it was my very personal need. However, very soon I found out that there is something good in every system, and yet not everything is applicable to me at that point of time in life. And that is how I started extracting bits and pieces from various disciplines, various forms of movement. I came across Pilates. Pilates was the first thing that actually talked about body as a whole, as a one unit. And I was very deeply from the get-go attracted and attached to it, that I was like, that makes sense. Body is not set apart. Body is a one whole unit. As my body started changing and getting better, I also realized how much of emotional trauma I carried in my life. Partly from surviving a war in Bosnia. Secondly, because of my life mission, my life purpose. At that time, what 18-year-old self thought was my life purpose. Actually, that injury led me to my life purpose. It is the work that I'm doing today. But that is what then got me on to getting more involved or trying to understand how mind works, how emotion work. And that is how, through the back door, in a way, got me to healing through meditation, to yoga, to hypnotherapy. So the way, even now, the way I'm functioning is that we are not, one shoe does not fit all. We need to custom make shoes for each individual. And the way to do that, I have to have a toolkit that enables me to guide my patient or my client, which means that there is a space for a physical exercise, there is a space for physiotherapy, there is a space for a core conditioning, there is a space for a healing, meditation, breath work, in different proportions at different times for different people. And that is a very dynamic space. What used to work for me, let's say 5 days ago, 10 years ago, it is changing what I need right now. It is changing based on my environment, based on my health concerns, based on my family situation, based on the stressors. And that is where it comes very handy to integrate and incorporate different parts from different disciplines. Now, yoga pretty much covers everything if we are talking about it. However, not everybody's mind is attuned to yoga right away. That's why even yoga had branched out into more physical forms of yoga, more director. So that is how I integrate things, depending on, and that is what yoga therapy ultimately is. It is a fairly new concept that is recognizing benefits of yoga, particularly in terms of lifestyle diseases and the mental health diseases, that we are taking each and every case separately on one-to-one or a very small group cases, and we are integrating various parts of yoga, breathwork, yoga nidra, so guided meditation, using some asanas as help, and then of course if there is a requirement, need, etc., for physical practices like doing some physiotherapy in addition to that, or doing some counseling, or doing some additional healing, then, or Pilates for that matter, then we are kind of merging the two to get the quickest and the best results for our clients and patients.
Right. Thank you, ma'am. And also, my third question would be, how do you emphasize the mind-body connection in your sessions?
Well, we all have our instincts and intuition. We all know something. After something happens, we usually say, yeah, I was sensing something and I didn't pay attention, particularly when it comes to injuries and to the aches and pains. So we are not, as I said in the beginning, that is why I keep on studying and have been studying seemingly unrelated disciplines. But that is the concept of the holistic wellness, is that we understand that the body is a focal point, that the body is our instrument through which we work and function in this time and plane, all right? And there is no other body we are going to be given in this time frame. So we need to take a very good care of that body. However, this body influences the mind and soul and emotions, and at the same time, the emotions, the mind, and the soul influence the way body performs. If we are exposed to a whole lot of stress, our body is going to tense up, which can have a physical consequence of a tight neck or lower back problems, not only from the sitting, but also from the stress. But it also can have deeper consequences of our blood pressure, or as Dr. Pooja said, that how important was the breath work in bypass patients to help them recover quicker. But if you're using it preventively, it can actually postpone or offset. So my sessions when I'm working with my patients and clients are always focused about first learning how to listen that inner voice, because body talks to us. We always have that intuition about ourselves, which we are getting again so bombarded with the outside stimuli that we have forgotten to hear, and also forgotten to understand what does it mean what we hear. So through that, we are trying to teach the clients how to increase their own awareness within their own body. And the moment that happens, they're becoming more focused. What is meditation? Meditation is the singular focus on one thing. Meditation does not need to be a stagnant process where I'm sitting still and staring in one dot. It can be, but that is not the only thing. Movement can be meditative. If every cell of my mind is focused on the movement that I'm doing, is focused on the breath that is happening. So what is happening? Few things. First, I cannot be in the past or in the future. I cannot be outside myself. I can only be here and now. And that means being present. And if I'm fully present in here and now in the activity that I'm doing, that is meditation. And the benefits of meditation are always first increase awareness within my own self. It is calming, it is distressing, and all of that pressures that we are feeling, it helps us to push them a little bit away so we can say, now I can breathe a little, and therefore helps us to deal with everything else. So I actually call this meditation through movement, and it is we're just getting that. I say or usually to people that as you're walking into my place, you're going to check out all of your problems, your family, your spouse. You're going to check out everybody outside. Everything is waiting for you as you come out. But when you walk in, you're walking only with yourself, and you're creating and dedicating this time to yourself. On the way back, pick up, everything is waiting for you. It's not going anywhere, but that 1 hour or whatever amount of time we have, you will focus and dedicate to yourself to honor yourself. And that is deeply therapeutic as well.
Thank you, ma'am. It was so lovely to have you. Over to Bilgis, ma'am, please.
Thank you so much, Rasnaji. Namaste, and thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. We have our next speaker with us. Nidhi Mohan Kamalji has still not joined, but we have Shruti Sethji. She is here with us. Shruti ji, can you please put on your camera and your microphone? Hi, namaste, and happy Yoga Day to you.
Happy Yoga Day to everybody.
Very warm welcome to you from BW Businessworld and BW WellbeingWorld.
Thank you so much for having me.
Sanjana, would you like to please introduce Shruti ji?
Yes. Hello, ma'am.
Hi, Sanjana.
Hi. So there is a small introduction which we prepared for you. So Shruti Seth is an accomplished Indian actress and a dedicated mental wellness coach with a career spanning over 2 decades. She has been significant contribution to Indian television and cinema, earning recognition for her popular roles, TV shows like Shararat and The Sweet Life of Karan and Kabir. Beyond her acting career, she is passionate about mental health advocacy, leveraging her platform to promote mental wellness and support those struggling with mental health issues. Her multifaceted career reflects her commitment to both the entertainment industry and the well-being of the others. Thank you, ma'am, and for coming on this special occasion of International Yoga Day. And I would like to ask my first question, that is, according to you, what is the importance of the Yoga Day? Not only because it's an International Yoga Day, but in overall life.
Well, honestly, for me, every day is Yoga Day. Ever since I've started practicing, I think the one thing that makes me feel one with myself has always been my yoga practice. And I think having a day dedicated to that, which can be celebrated across the world, I think it's just a way of all those who have benefited from the practice of yoga to just recognize what a wonderful science it is. But again, I would say for me, every day is Yoga Day.
So, ma'am, the topic which you chose, that was what yoga taught me beyond asana. So, if you can share your views on it, please.
Well, so I think the number one thing that yoga has taught me is that we're always becoming someone new every single day. Nothing is permanent. And I remember the first time that I started practicing, my teacher, Aoife Shroff, had told me that, remember, yoga is about becoming. Every day, with every practice, you will become someone new. So from a person who cannot touch her feet today, you will slowly and gradually become someone who will be able to put her palms under her feet. Because your body will keep opening up, it will keep changing as you keep your practice going. And I think that is such a it's such a lovely parallel with life that we're constantly changing. We don't remain the same person, and we shouldn't. And the idea is to keep on working towards bettering ourselves, much like the practice helps you better your body, your mind, your soul. I think life pretty much has to be the same way. We have to keep practicing and keep on working towards becoming better versions of ourselves. So that's one of the lessons. And another lesson that I have learned is that you can only practice on your own mat. We're always looking at other people, and in a practice, it's a great lesson, because when you are doing asana practice, the moment your focus shifts to someone else's practice, you're going to fall out of your pose. So if you really want to stay centered and go deep into your practice, then you have to just focus on yourself. And again, that is something for life. If we keep focusing on what other people are doing, you're never going to be able to enjoy and be grateful for where you are at, for all the gifts that life has given you, all the areas that you need to improve. So, like I said, you just need to stay on your mat and practice on your own mat without being distracted with what other people are doing on their mats. Right. So these are two very, very essential lessons that I have learned through my practice of yoga. And I continue to learn them, because even after all these years of practice, there are so many asanas that I still feel I can do better. On some days, I have difficulty bending. On some days, I feel like there's a little bit of stiffness in my hamstring. So despite years of practice, there are days when I don't have a good practice. But the fact that I can do it, or the fact that it can be done, it keeps me on the path of saying, even if it's not a good practice, one still has to do it, because it keeps changing. Every day is a different day on the mat. Every day is a different day in life. No state is permanent. So we shouldn't get attached to outcomes. That's all. You enjoy here and now. And I think it is my learning through yoga that I moved on to, building a career in mindfulness and training to become a mindfulness meditation teacher, because what I learned on the mat, I have deepened that knowledge by actually studying mindfulness, which is here and now. Just this moment. This is your life. We live too much in the past or too much in the future, and we forget to enjoy what life is giving us right here in this moment. So there you have it.
Right. So how can yoga help cultivate a sustainable approach to wellness that becomes a long-term lifestyle?
Well, number one, you can practice anywhere. Yeah. You don't need a special room, special equipment. You literally need a mat and your body. Right. You just need to show up. Once you've learned basic asana practice, you can literally practice anywhere, sometimes even without a mat. You just need to be there yourself and say, okay, here I am. And now I will show up for myself, for my body, for my soul, for my practice. And if you are able to do that, then you can sustain the practice for the rest of your life. It requires zero equipment. It requires, you can have a very fancy studio, but you can also practice without a studio. I have practiced in the most uncomfortable places, sometimes alone, sometimes with a class full. It doesn't matter. It's really what's going on inside here. And I think if you are able to, when you go deep into your practice and, when you actually start to be present during your practice and you realize what is happening inside your body, you automatically feel more committed to doing it again and again and again. And that's how you sustain it. I've been practicing since, I think, 2007. And I have dabbled in a lot of other various kinds of, physical activities. But somehow I've always gone back to yoga. I've done strength training, I've done Pilates, I've done Tai Chi, I've done dance, I've done aerobics. So I've always been someone who enjoys physical movement. But what yoga has given me with the practice has been far deeper than any other practice that I have done. I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. I'm sure people find their own paths. But for me, yoga is that path. And like I said, if you can learn how to be truly present in your body during your practice, there is nothing in the world that will stop you from doing it again.
Great. Ma'am, my last question would be, what would be your message to our live audience on the occasion of International Yoga Day?
Well, there's something lovely that was taught to me in my art-based therapy, which is life is movement. So long as you're moving, you're living. So whether it's your breath, if your breath is moving, you're alive. If your heart is beating, you're alive, right? If your tears are rolling down your cheeks, you're alive. Uh, so the most important thing that one needs to do to keep on living is to keep moving. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy. It doesn't have to be anything elaborate. Just take a walk, just go walk alone with yourself. Spend as much time as you can with yourself, for yourself, every single day, so that you can honor the meaning of life, which is movement. And there are a lot of people who sadly don't have that benefit, because people have had issues with health, with body, with movement. But whatever little bit you can do, whatever little bit you can do, keep doing it. Don't become static, because then you technically stop living. You have to just keep moving. And if you are someone who enjoys, any sort of physical activity, then I highly recommend that you add yoga to that practice, because it will give you a completely different result compared to anything else that you are doing. And there is no way for me to describe it to you. You just have to experience it for yourself.
It was so insightful, ma'am. Thank you for coming at a very short occasion. Over to you, Bilkis, ma'am.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much, Shruti ji, for joining us, and happy Yoga Day to you once again. Thank you so
आपको
much.
भी and आपके सारे दर्शकों को भी. Thank you,
Thank you
everyone.
so
May you
much.
all have
Thank you.
a wonderful International Yoga Day and keep practicing.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
We have with us our next speaker, Nidhi Mohan Kamal ji. Namaskar. Can you please put on your microphone?
Namaste. Joining
Namaste.
you.
Happy Yoga Day to you. I
Happy-
understand that the time zone is different over there. And
Yeah.
thank you so much, in fact, for taking the time out and speaking to us today on this occasion.
My pleasure.
Sanjana, over to you. You would like to continue and take the conversation ahead?
Sure. Yes, I will. So, ma'am, there is a small introduction which we prepared for you. So, Nidhi Mohan Kamal is the MD and co-founder of Nitsan Wellness, a leading fitness and wellness center. She is a certified 500-hour registered yoga teacher and a nutrition expert. She is known for her comprehensive approach to health, integrating nutrition, fitness, and yoga to create personalized wellness plans. Her innovative methods and dedication have made a significant role in the fitness industry, helping helping countless individuals achieve their health and wellness goals. Through Nitsan's Wellness, she continues to inspire and guide others on their journey to balance a healthy lifestyle. Thank you, ma'am, on coming on board with us. So, your topic was yoga in daily life and breathing right. So, please, could you just elaborate on the same?
I think I would like to start with saying that, when we talk about yoga, when we have all these conversations, especially around Yoga Day, you open your feed and you see everyone doing these very complicated stuff and very complicated postures. And, if you haven't ever tried it, sometimes you believe you won't be able to do it. And I can understand that given how we work and operate and how we sit on our computers for so long, we're not that very flexible. So I think it can come across as this is not something for me, and it'll take me a while to get there. But the thing is, that's something which is lost in translation, is that the true meaning of yoga has got nothing to do with striking any perfect poses. It's all about being able to connect with yourself. And so when we do a practice, or when you start your yoga practice, essentially what you're trying to do is trying to know who you are and know how your body operates, how you feel in your body. And that's so different from what the outer representation is there on social media. So I would say that it is something which is for everyone. And it's something, like, literal meaning of yoga is yoga, which means connection, of my connection to my divine self. So It can be simply if you're sitting and do you check in with yourself? How often do you check in with yourself that my back is straight? Or am I breathing consciously? Am I breathing deep or am I breathing short? Is my breath getting shorter? Like, this is yoga, like knowing yourself. So I think if we can take that pressure off of trying to achieve a pose and take that pressure off like trying to look perfect, I think most of us will kind of get there.
Okay. So,
That
ma'am,
was very interesting. If I may ask one question, Nidhi ji, Sanjana, sorry for interrupting there. While we speak of breathing, we consider it as one of the most important aspects of yoga while doing yoga exercises. What is the importance of sleep when you talk about yoga and your body as a whole? Please tell us about the importance of sleep.
But it's well, you said breathing is called prana, and that's why you say pranayam, because that's practice of like getting life into your body. But when we talk about sleep, there's also a practice called yoga nidra, where you lie down, you are conscious, but you're put in like a semi-conscious state, and you kind of go through deep relaxation, but also go through your whole body, move your consciousness throughout the body. So sleep essentially is very important, and I think it's more than how much you sleep, is also the quality of sleep. That's very important. And that's, part and parcel of what relaxation is as a practice. And that's why whenever you do a good yoga practice, you always go in shavasana. And it's recommended that you go through a cycle of yoga nidra while you do shavasana. So you understand the importance of being in the yang and being like this active, getting into one posture to the other, and then also trying to like being in that space of being able to calm yourself down and like slow your body down, which is important for recovery.
That's very insightful. Over to you, Sanjana.
thank you. Ma'am, my first question would be, why is proper breathing important in yoga and what benefit does it offer?
But as I said before, in our normal day-to-day, we can have short breath. Like, it's something that can be very unconscious and you don't realize that you do. But when we do yoga, it's important to move with breath, because the postures are sort of designed to have the breath, facilitate some of the postures. Because when you get into like difficult postures, the breath will actually facilitate you to kind of get there. And while you're in there, something that is there in a lot of yoga practices, Ujjayi breath. It's also called power breath, where you exhale forcefully. That automatically kind of engages your core muscles. So it not only protects your back against like a lot of things, because your core protects your back, essentially, your lumbar part of the back, but it also gives you the energy that you would need to kind of stay in that posture. Because when you're in the posture, probably you're in a deep stretch or you're in a balance and you feel like you're kind of getting wobbly, it's controlling your core muscles. It's giving you that power, that strength that you need, with the oxygen pumping in, that's kind of coming in. And also it'll ground you, because it moves your consciousness to you. And if you are kind of going anywhere, you come back to your breath and you come in your body. So breath is super important.
Thank you. So, my next question would be, what motivated you to find a career in a wellness space?
Oh, that's a really long story. I'm not sure we have that time. But I would say essentially I come from a family of medicos. So my father's a doctor, my brother's a doctor, my mom is in that space of genetics and medicine. So it was kind of natural. I actually did engineering, and I did not opt for medicine as a career. But then I pivoted because I felt like there was so much in that space that I kind of knew. I studied to be a engineer. Chemical and food was my specialization, and I was very upset with the food industry, because I was very upset with, how the ingredients kind of don't make sense to your health. And that's the reason why I kind of chose. But, one thing led to the other, and yeah, here we are.
That was lovely, ma'am. My third question would be, how can busy professionals integrate yoga into their daily routines?
As I said, if you're gonna look at it as something that's difficult and that you have to take an hour to do it, it might not be that easy. But if you can, take bite-sized practices of yoga and integrate into your life, that is very helpful. There's a ton of information available online on mindfulness, and you don't have to do like an hour or half an hour of meditation. You can pick up something like 5 or 8 minutes, and you can either start your day or end your day with some mindfulness and some conscious guided breathing, so you understand your patterns better. And even when you're talking about postures, it might not be possible for you to go for the full flow, but if you know how to probably like reverse your blood flow towards the end of the day, you can put your legs up and do like a very simple asana of like Vipreet Karni. I know handstand, headstands can be off limits for a lot of people, but you can use something that's supported. Being able to sit on the ground cross-legged, because we sit on chairs and it's not the most conducive for your hip muscles, for your hip flexors. So sitting on the floor and eating another yogic practice, using your hands to eat another small yogic practice, sitting in Vajrasana after meals. Again, very small practice. You don't need to take out a lot of time, but I would say get into the yogic lifestyle and like use it like one step at a time, and then eventually you will get there.
Right. Ma'am, my last question would be, what would be your message for our live audience?
I think my message would be that every day is yoga day. You don't, although we do celebrate it on one day, but I think it's something that needs to be done every day. And yoga is, as I said in the beginning, literal translation of the word is connection to yourself. And it's a beautiful practice that helps you to understand you better. And um, I think it's time that we understand it beyond the pose. We understand it as a part of our lifestyle, of what we eat, how we consume things, how we breathe, how we flow through spaces, and how we flow through relationships. So I hope people translate it more than just like a practice on the mat.
Thank you. It was so insightful and lovely. Over to this one, please.
Thank you so much, Nidhi ji, for joining us and taking out time for our conversation. Thank you so much and happy Yoga Day to you.
Happy Yoga Day to you. Namaste.
Namaste. We have our next speaker who is present here. It will be Yogi Siddharth Banerjee ji. Siddharth ji, can you put on your camera and your speaker?
Namaskar, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Can we also see you,
Just a moment,
please?
yes. Let me just
Yes.
put the camera and let me come live. There we are. Pranam.
Namaskar, Pranam, and happy Yoga Day to you.
Wish you a very, very happy Yoga Day, all of you. Pranam. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a privilege to have you here.
Thank you so much.
A little bit about you. Siddharthji is an international yoga exponent and researcher in Vedic science. Siddharthji is a Himalayan yogi. He has metropolitan origin. His understanding and teaching of yoga is backed by his scientific aptitude and his genuine spiritual quest. Therefore, his teaching methodologies are extremely rational, relatable, and logical. Explained with a deep spiritual and scientific understanding ingrained in each step. He has been conducting various TTC models and retreat programs across India. Siddharthji, welcome again. And please tell us how yoga can bring about change in the society.
Well, many great mystics have always said that you transform yourself and you get to transform thousands. A very common quotation that we get to hear is that you be the change you wish to see in the world. Yes? Well, with my personal example, I would like to give my own reference because more than reading others' books, I would like to discuss my book, what happened to me. And that's where I understood that, yes, if I really want to change the society, it should start from me, right? So it happened long back when I was a student of Hindu college. I was doing a graduation in botany. And I went ahead to do a master's in forestry. And my entire knack was to learn more about nature and its conservation. So I was quite an environment enthusiast. That's what my childhood was like. So there was nothing yogic about it. It was just a natural quest that I want to know nature, I want to know environment more. So I went to the conventional way of learning, botany, then forestry. And today when I see the activism, I also was quite an activist. But there was something missing, you know. Something missing was that when I studied nature, when I studied environment, when I was studying the society, the modern education was only one-sided. You know, it made me very separate from nature. It said, that is me, that is nature, you go and protect it. So that approach was not very inclusive, I would say. But when miraculously, by fluke, yoga happened to me, and I went and stayed with some yogis and mystics and many tribal people and village people, and when I saw their lifestyle, which was far more yogic, I realized that it's not a bookish thing. We see these days climate activists doing vandalism and all. From a yogic perspective, that is absolutely bizarre. Because a yogic perspective says, I am the change. I have to understand my Prakriti before going and saving Prakriti. I have to understand my innate nature. I myself have to be peaceful first before talking about what's happening globally in the peace forum. So that inward approach where I am first the change, I am the witness, I am the Sakshi, bhai. I have to change myself first. Then the world will change, is what yoga does to us. So the awareness that we talk about, it's not something that, you know, it doesn't come like that. But when you are into a spiritual or a yogic process, where our entire awareness is introverted and not just external, we get to see that, okay, the awareness comes from within. You feel nature, you feel the pain, you feel the society, and then automatically you become a very conscious being. For that, the philosophy of yoga talks about, the Ashtanga Yoga of Patanjali talks about the yam, niyam, and then we talk about asana. So there are 10 steps before to be practiced before an asana practice. So when we understand the logic, the philosophy of Patanjali Yoga Sutra, we talk about yam, then niyam, the 5 yams, the 5 niyams. Then the body, then the entire system is prepared for an asana. That too philosophically means a state of stability and comfort. Then we go ahead with pranayam, pratyahara, dharana, dhyan, samadhi. That is the tangible aspect of yoga that we get to see. So this is the basic approach which helped me become a far more conscious being, far more inclusive individual. And I think yoga makes us more aware from an inward point of view. Yeah.
Great. That is very insightful. I also want to understand from you that how the Vedic principles, how they influence our lives and how we can, incorporate them in our daily lives for holistic health.
Okay, so it's very interesting because being a yoga teacher for so many years, I gave a lot of time to research. Where Ayurveda is, I figured out a lot in Ayurveda, and now I'm working with astrology as well, because it is not just about a physical yoga abhyas. It is also about the Ayurvedic implications of our lifestyle. Yoga is not just a yoga mat and few asanas. We all know that. But then what is it? It is what the clothes I'm wearing. It is the food I'm eating. It is the dincharya I'm following. It is the ritucharya I'm following. If I'm eating an avocado today.
We have missed your voice, please.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So
it's better now.
I'm consuming an avocado, or I'm consuming the bel ka sharbat growing here in Delhi, the bel fruit, which is more yogic. So that kind of knowledge Ayurveda gives us. So Ayurveda is a very interesting subject and a sister science of yoga, which tells us the yoga for your type. That I have a problem with my head. Somebody has a problem with my stomach, with somebody's stomach. What is the proneness to it? How will I diagnose that issue? And what yoga to choose? What yoga abhyas to choose is is the idea of Ayurveda, which talks about the concept of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha.
Correct.
Yes, when we have a basic understanding of Vata, Pitta, Kapha, the second question comes, why am I born Vata? Why am I born Pitta? Why am I born Kapha? Then comes the next Vedic sciences of Jyotish Shastra, which says, as per our astrological chart, which is the oldest science, we get to know that I am born in a particular constitution. Why? That is what astrology will tell us. So, not just yogic science, yoga is a remedy. When we understand many such sciences, which often in the modern world they call it pseudoscience, but we are in a revival process that no, there is some science behind it. Because wherever science ends, philosophy starts. Where philosophy finishes, spirituality starts. So when we get the basic idea of, okay, my temperament of anger is because of a Mars present in a particular house, which is affecting my pith dosh in the body, which is creating more acidic influences in the blood, making my blood more acidic and hot. That's why I am prone to anger and frustration and stress and irritation. That's why my hair is graying. I know what yoga to do. So your yogic approach is not just a multivitamin of 5 asana you're doing in a yoga class, but the food you eat, the way you sit, the chakra you work on, knowing your planets, knowing your dosha, and it is all about knowledge and wisdom. Basically, when we are knowledgeable, when we have the wisdom, it is the greatest cleanser.
Correct.
So in this yoga day, I would like to take it as an opportunity that it is not just yoga that we are practicing. It is a yogic lifestyle and increasing the knowledge base. If I tell you somebody is suffering, for example, okay, a very classic example, I'm suffering from financial issues. Do you think yoga can manage it?
No.
How? So yoga is an inward approach where I will become a little bit more detached. It's okay, fine, let it happen. Let me become more inclusive. But the sciences of astrology and Ayurveda will work on an external level.
Correct.
For that also, it might sound little, mystic, but there is a connection. So yoga is all about being inclusive to all such basic, different kind of Vedic sciences. Acupressure is also there. Why to avoid it? If somebody is bedridden, why can't you just use a mudra or an acupressure to heal yourself? That is also knowledge. Yes or no?
You very beautifully touched upon the astrology and acupressure part. It's
Yes.
very, very
Because
relevant.
I have seen the change. If somebody says my Shani is bhari and I'm going to a Shani temple and offering oil, some of the people might ask me the question, you are a science student, you are a double MSc, and what is the logic and science behind that? And I will be, genuinely, I don't have an answer for it.
Correct.
A lot of people doing it. So this is a land of seekers. Yoga is again for seeking. Why do we practice yoga? So that we become more receptive to knowledge, not restricted, rather receptive. So that is why we do the asanas. That's why we do the different breath works and body postures, so that we become receptive. That okay, if maybe that oil that I'm offering to Shani temple might not work, can I consume a particular oil to balance my Vat dosh that is governed by Saturn planet? Or maybe work on a particular chakra that will make me more determined, confident, bold? That is a possibility.
Please tell us more about chakras, which you've just mentioned. Please tell us how that can have a link with yoga.
Oh yes, yoga is all about balancing the software.
Correct.
Chakra is nothing but if I cut the body. See, I'm in the IIT Delhi campus right now. If I meet 5 people around and tell you about chakras, they will give me just get lost. This is not science. So what is a chakra? Chakra is not imaginary. It is on an energy level. So when I talk about yoga, I always talk about science. When I use the word prana, I don't say pranayam karo. Why do I do pranayam? What is prana? For that, we have to understand the science. Let me come to chakra after this classic example. In our lungs, we have the lower part of the lungs, which has more alveoli. Okay, so the nose, nostril, trachea, bronchi, bronchioles, and balloons, which is alveoli. A yogi knows that he will do Kapalabhati practice or deep abdominal breathing to increase the lung capacity. When the yogi improves the lung capacity, his body has more oxygen. Clear? That much is clear. Now, when a yogi has more oxygen, how will it help me with the energy? For that, we have to understand the cellular respiration happening inside the mitochondria of the cell, which says, in the cristae, the glycolysis says oxygen plus glucose, that is C6H12O6 plus O2. Oxygen gives CO2 that we exhale out, H2O that we urinate out, and a molecule called ATP adenosine triphosphate and NADPH. This ATP is an energy molecule that is present in the body. When we do pranayam, oxygen increases. As the oxygen increases, directly proportional, ATP also increases. ATP breaks into adenosine diphosphate and energy. This energy is called prana, from which we have the word pranayam. That means exercising this energy is called pranayam. So on a cellular level, on a very, very molecular, biomolecular level, yoga is working. And once we have the knowledge of it, we can transform many things. Now, if I have more energy, I can fight my emotions better. My mind will be better, in a better health. I'll have less prone to anxiety. I can fight my diseases better. I'll simply vibe like a yogi. Scientifically, a yogi has more ATP molecules and oxygen concentration in the body. Scientifically. So these IIT students will now accept me that yes, that is how we can believe in it. That is why today's generation, today's world is all about knowledge and knowing. We have a very strong influence of Rahu, strong influence of network, strong influence of information technology, of Mercury. These are all astrological terms. So this is the time where it's not about just believing a practice, but knowing the science and logic behind that. And when we understand the logic of yoga, I call myself a metropolitan mystic. I'm equally partying, I'm equally chilling, and I'm equally enjoying the functional and material life, but with absolute balance and oneness, because I know which button to work. These buttons in the body are the chakras, which are energy centers, whirlpool of energy centers. There's a software of energy in the body, which is under the Pranamaya Kosha. We have 5 mega bodies: physical body, Annamaya Kosha; energy body, Pranamaya Kosha; mental body, Manomaya Kosha; Vijnanamaya Kosha is the wisdom and emotional body. Then comes Anandamaya Kosha, which is the bliss body, which the yogis touch. That's why Vivek Ananda, Shiv Ananda, Chidananda, because they have attained the Ananda Swarup, Ananda body, bliss body. The second body that I mentioned was energy body, which is the Pranamaya Kosha, which contains 72,000 nadis and 114 energy centers called chakras. Amongst them, there are 7 main. When we work on a yoga abhyas through the physical body, through the pranayams, we are releasing the energy from that. Now, how it is working, I'll explain you with a very classic example of physics. Have you seen a pipe of water?
Yes.
Yes. So when a pipe of water has mud deposition, how do you clean the pipe? You squeeze the water and release it, so that there's a gush of water and it gets cleansed. If it's blocked, what happens? The water comes out like fluk, 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 like that.
Correct.
Similarly, because of toxic accumulations, because of toxicity in our body, because of some kind of mental stagnations also, our body's nadis get blocked. When we squeeze and release, squeeze and release, squeeze and release, that is an asana. We release these energy channels. And the chakras get balanced, the nadis get balanced. That is why we have to hold an asana for long. And then do a counter stress to squeeze and release these energy channels so that the energy flow is maintained. Once the energy flow is maintained, both physical body and mental body gets balanced. That is the basic science of working on the chakras.
That is indeed extremely scientific explanation that you have given. Very, very insightful. One last thing I want to understand from you and to ask you is that what is your message to the youngsters? Because we have seen youngsters, they are partying, like you said, they are partying, they are having a good time, but then
I'm also partying.
how do they incorporate yoga in their lifestyle, and how do they get benefit out of it?
See, in what my gurus have explained, and how when I studied astrology, There is nothing wrong with materialism. Okay. First, we have to understand that the more we make spiritual and material separate, it causes confusion. We are in samsara, and samsara paramo dharma. We have got our duties to be dissipated. We have our organs that require pleasures also. If you understand the Purusharth, it talks about dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Your liberation will not happen until you go through the phases. Even our phases of life talks about the brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprasth, and then sannyas. So jumping towards a conclusion that, okay, I will not become very, this is not the idea. For that, the key is all about balance in life.
Correct.
How to do it? Of course, you engage in material pleasures. We have to engage in generating our resources for sustenance, but the process can be yogic. When we understand the science of, and yoga is not only 5-6 asana in the morning. Be receptive. That's why I think the education system has to do a big role to bring this knowledge into the mainstream, which talks about not only gaining bookish and external knowledge, but also focusing on internal knowledge. Paravidya and Aparavidya, where you follow your true instincts and live a meaningful life. Today, if I would have just followed the society's term, I would have tried to become an IAS officer, IFS officer. I would have become, I know how to do rattabazi and pass. I can do that. I'm a gold medalist. I've done that. But I wouldn't have been as joyful and balanced and blissful as today, because I followed my inner call, inner instinct. Thank God it happened. And today when I see my chart, it's absolutely balanced, no stress. Why? Because I followed both Paravidya and Aparavidya. That means I did my education, I studied, I did all my education, but also took time to bring the internalization through 4 processes, 4 parts of yoga: Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Gyan Yoga, Raj Yoga. There are 4 paths. You can choose any to bring your awareness to the center. So as a youth, I'm telling the youth, any path that you follow that will bring about internalization, inner connection, follow that. It can happen through knowledge like this. No, with your knowledge, knowing, Gyan Yoga. It can happen through bhakti and surrender. That is also possible. There are a lot of youngsters in Vrindavan, but true bhakti, not the fake one. It can happen through action also, when we know the principles of Karma Yoga. Or very tangible yoga, that is Raj Yoga, under which comes Hatha Yoga. Practice, open your body, do some vyayam, do some asana, do some pranayam, mudras, bandhas, kriyas, meditation. Find your grounding, find your inner self, and you will see that externally, whatever you're doing, you will be absolutely efficient in doing that.
It's basically find your own calling.
Yes, through the path that, again, your path is also your calling.
The correct path, yes.
The correct path, your instincts, again, for that Ayurveda has a very interesting thing. A kapha person, earth person is more they tend towards bhakti yoga. A person who's fiery in nature, pith person, is more towards karma yoga. And a vat person like me is more of a gyan yogi, generally. So that is also again coming through knowledge. So any path that is comfortable for us to find our inner self will help us find our grounding. That will add a lot of meaning to our life, make us successful not only on the spiritual domain with peace and balance, but also in the external domain where we need to balance the material life as well. So that kind of a life will definitely add more meaning and value to us and to the society as whole.
Thank you so much. That was very, very insightful and very good message for the youngsters that we have got through you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Bilkis.
Thank you.
You so much.
Thank you.
To the entire team.
Thank
And
you
I
so
would once
much.
again like to congratulate all of you for this beautiful endeavor and hosting such a lovely webinar on the occasion of Yoga Day. And I really hope that this entire program sends a message to not just the youth, but everybody that yes, practice any form of yoga. Yoga means a journey of the self, to the self, through the self. So I hope
it is indeed a journey.
Indeed
Yes.
a journey. And
Yes.
I really hope that we all commence such a spiritual journey and add meaning to our own life and the society as a whole. So thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so much. Thank you.
Pranam.
Namaskar.
Greetings.
Pranam.
Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you. We have our next speaker lined up for the day. Tina Sapraji is here. Welcome and a very happy yoga day to you.
Thank you, Bilkis. Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, very happy yoga day to all of you as well.
Tina ji, please tell us something about your work and what you do. I understand you are a dietitian and nutritionist, and you have helped numerous people. I'm one of them. I'm a big fan of yours. Please tell us about your work.
So yes, I am a nutrition consultant, and I work with people, to help in their journeys to deal with metabolic disorders, including thyroid, blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol, obesity. So anything that has to do with the weak gut is what I help with. Nutrition, we take nutrition as medical nutrition therapy. So, people come to us with metabolic disorders and they're on medications, and we're able to take them off of medication using nutrition as therapy. So, you have allopathy, you have homeopathy, you have naturopathy. So the same way now we have medical nutrition therapy, where we use diet as a tool in order to cure people of some of these disorders.
Great. Since it's Yoga Day and we are discussing about the benefits of yoga, how do you think yoga help in improving the metabolism?
So, like I was listening to the previous speaker, and it was very informative. And with yoga, it's mental conditioning. And the same way, diet is also all about mental conditioning. So when you're practicing yoga, you're strengthening you're channelizing your energies, you're channelizing you're getting into a discipline, you're clearing up your energies, you're clearing up your system. So all that clearing up, channelizing your energy, channelizing your discipline, all that works in, helping a person increase their metabolic rate. Like nutrition and yoga, they're interconnected. It's also mental conditioning, and so is nutrition. So, when people say it's so hard to go on a diet, it's very hard for me to follow a diet. I can't follow a diet. What is it? It's the mind being weak. So when you're practicing yoga, you're strengthening your mind. So I think strengthening the mind also helps you in taking, this path of a healthy lifestyle and a healthy eating practice.
Very insightful, Tina ji. Also, I want to understand, when we talk about food and nutrition, what are the nutrients or the food items or the diet which is specifically important for people who are practicing yoga?
So there is nothing that is not allowed. So normally, yoga says do not eat anything half an hour, 15 minutes, an hour before you're getting into your yoga session. And every trainer has a different rule for their participants to follow. And normally we encourage that have a little small snack before you get into yoga, not something big, not something as high sugar as a fruit sugar, but maybe a date or 2 prunes, or drink a little bit of coconut water, get something into your system, so that, because normally people practice yoga as soon as they wake up. So it's normally after a 8-10 hour fasting period, because they've had dinner, they've slept, they haven't eaten anything, and then they're getting up in the morning and going for these yoga classes. So we don't say eat a heavy meal, but we do encourage people to take something light before they sit into that 1.5 hour of yoga session, whether it's meditative or whether it's doing asanas. So just maybe having, maybe 100 ml of coconut water, putting in a date, having 2 prunes, something very small. So, you're breaking your fast, you're getting a little bit of energy, and you have that sustainability for that hour and a half that you're going to be spending into your yoga session.
When we speak of yoga, we also speak of mindfulness.
Yes.
What is mindful eating, and how we can follow it?
So like I said earlier, yoga is strengthening of the mind.
Correct.
And so is going on a diet or making a lifestyle change. I would not say going on a diet, but I would say making a lifestyle change, because that's what we preach. We don't put people on diets. We take their lifestyle and we tweak it. So whatever a person is doing is what they end up continue to do, but we suggest healthier options or healthier choices that that person can make in their lifestyle, which also needs a lot of mental conditioning. So where somebody's practicing yoga, they're making their mind strong. Mind, body, soul are connected, right? So when we get a lot of people who have weak minds, we always have a hard time with those people making those lifestyle changes. So if somebody's doing some kind of meditative exercise, let it be yoga, meditation, something that's channeling their energy in the right direction, something that's making their mind stronger, it becomes much easier for us health professionals also to intervene in their lifestyle, to suggest changes. And the compliance rate of such people is much, much higher, because they know how to channelize their energy, they know how to channelize their mind, they know they've had a good grasp of that feeling of calmness, that feeling of channelizing, which helps them make these changes in their lifestyle as well.
Very well said. In fact, when we speak of these topics, we also understand that, you are a nutritionist, you're a dietitian. People might be coming to you for weight loss. The obesity is on a rise, and we are tackling diabetes in India like no other country. What is body positivity, and how yoga can help in that?
So when a lot of people come to me, let's pick up weight loss, okay? Because we deal with other conditions as other metabolic disorders as well, but where body positivity is concerned, like I just said, the mind, body, and soul are connected. So when we get anybody who's trying to cure any metabolic disorder, we first tell them to say that they're okay. Like when people come to me for weight loss, I specifically tell them, please do not check your weight every day. If I'm getting somebody, who has diabetes, we tell them, you practice telling yourself that you're okay, you're going to be able to get off medication. What are we doing? So in our principle also, we learn that mind, body, soul being connected, what you keep telling yourself, what your mind tells your body, that's how your body will respond. So I think body positivity in that way is strongly and very extensively connected to mind positivity. So as long as you have a positive mind and you keep giving yourself positive reinforcements, your body responds in the same way. So if you keep telling yourself, I'm not losing weight, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm not losing weight, chances are that you will not lose weight. If you keep, like we have a lot of, people who are recovering from cancer. So when we're doing medical nutrition therapy for post-cancer care, the first thing we tell them is, you tell yourself that you're okay. You let your mind tell your body that you're okay. Once your mind starts telling your body you're okay, your body starts to respond better, in a better way.
Thank you so much for that answer. Also, one more question is coming to my mind. When we think of people who are either going to yoga or going for gym or doing any kind of exercise, they tend to go on a very strict diet, in the sense that they try to maintain calorie deficit. While trying to maintain calorie deficit, they go into starvation. What is your take on that, and how to tackle that?
So the trick behind losing weight is to create a calorie deficit, but that calorie deficit needs to be within a range of what your current weight is. So if whatever your weight is, we calculate your caloric needs for that weight, and we create a reasonable calorie deficit when we calculate those calories. So for example, if a person needs 1400 calories, If I've calculated a person needs 1800 calories to stay the weight they are, and I decide I want to give the person 1400 to 1600 calories, I'm creating a reasonable calorie deficit, which is not putting the person in starvation. But if somebody needs 1800 calories and they go on a 500, 700 calorie deficit diet, which is creating a huge deficit, at that point, you're heading into starvation. So going in starvation is not the answer for anything. Even so, you can look at your body as a bank account. So your body is a reserve of calories. Okay. You need to spend calories for everything that you do. I'm talking, I'm moving my hand, I'm blinking my eye, my heart is working, my lung is working. These are all involuntary muscles. They work whether we are awake, whether we are sleeping. To work, they need calories, right? So your body has a store of calories, which we call the reserve. So we try as much as possible that a person who's trying to lose weight or exercising or trying to stay healthy does not go into the reserve. If you are not putting into the reserve, the body thinks you're not going to be getting anything in the reserve, and the body shuts down. So it doesn't expend any calories. So you don't get what you need. So if you want to spend calories, you have to put in calories. So it's just like a savings account. If you know you're not going to get a recurring deposit, you'll be very careful in where you're going to be spending your money. However, if you know that you're going to keep getting money into that account, you will spend a bit more freely. So if you're not getting calories, your body holds the stored calories. What if you get sick? What if you need to recover? What if you have a stress situation in your life? What if you have an injury? How are you recovering? How is your body recovering at that point? Your body is going into that storehouse of calories and pulling out calories to help you recover. If you don't have calories there, A, your recovery time gets prolonged. B, that's why people feel weak post a surgery, post a trauma, post a sickness. Why is there so much emphasis of food? Even when you go to a doctor, the doctor will say, ye khana, aise mat khana, itna khana, acha khana, do this. Because you need reserve in your body for your body to recover if it does go into a traumatic state.
Thank you so much, Tina ji. That was very, very insightful. One last message from your side on the occasion of Yoga Day.
I think, like I've mentioned earlier, yoga, diet, they both go hand in hand. They're both mental conditioning. They're both about making your mind strong. They're both about discipline. They're both about routine. So I think, people who are practicing yoga or who are doing any form of exercise, meditation, yoga, asanas, it needs a lot of discipline. It needs a lot of strength. It needs a lot of mental conditioning, mind conditioning. I mean, some of the asanas that yogic people do, they're super, super hard. It needs flexibility. It needs a balance of nutrition in your body. So I think diet does all of that. So diet supplements the nutrition in the body so that you're able to do, your exercises, your asanas, your breathing, your routine, your discipline very well. So I think diet and yoga go hand in hand. They supplement each other. They complement each other. So I think whoever practices yoga, should be on a well-balanced, nutritious diet, keeping the carbohydrate, fats, and protein in check based on their body weight.
Thank you so much. Very, very insightful and very valuable, knowledgeable talk that you have given to us. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you. We have with us our next speaker, Shikha Mehra ji. Can you please put on your camera?
Hi.
Hi, how are you? And happy Yoga Day to you.
Happy Yoga
A very
Day.
warm welcome to you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us. And Sanjana, you may take this forward.
Thank you. So a small introduction about Shikha ma'am. Shikha Mehra is a dedicated yoga and nutrition educator known for her holistic approach to health and wellness with expertise in both in yoga and nutrition. She empowers individuals to achieve optimum well-being through balanced diet and mindful practices. She is also a comprehensive guidance, help her clients integrate healthy habits into their daily lives, fostering long-term physical and mental health. Thank you, ma'am, for coming on board with us on this beautiful occasion, which is the International Yoga Day.
Thank you so much, Sanjana, for that beautiful introduction, and happy International Yoga Day to everybody. And yes, so I am Shikha. I am a yoga teacher and a nutrition educator. I have been practicing yoga, for the past 20 years and teaching for the past 5 years. And I have taught close to 5,000 practitioners all over the world. And I've coached many people on nutrition as well. So yoga became a part of me after I spent close to 8.5 years in the corporate sector, where, after 8.5 years, I was a little clueless on where next, what role. I was second. I was like, maybe this is not for me. I need to find my purpose. I was pretty unhappy with what I was doing. So I thought maybe, let's take a break from what I'm doing. And that's when the whole journey into yoga started. I was a practitioner, but never thought that yoga could be so vast and it could be beyond the mat. So, that's when I went to Rishikesh. Teaching was not what I had in mind. I thought I will figure myself. I will get closer to myself, So, that's when I left for Rishikesh, spent 1 month studying yoga. And that 1 month in Rishikesh was so strong. The practice was strong, the whole knowledge that I gained, that I came back with a natural urge to give back to the society. Whatever little I had learned, obviously I had to come back and do a lot of abhyas, studied, practiced, and since then been teaching people, and there's been no looking back. And I love what I do and spreading this, beautiful ancient practice of yoga to everybody around. So that's about me. I think we can now move on to the topic. Sanjana, to you.
Yes. So, ma'am, the topic which you chose was mindfulness and mind-body connection with yoga. So please enlighten us with that.
Yes. So, there's this natural and beautiful connection between the mind and the body. If there's anything that's going wrong in your mental space, in your, mind, you can directly see its effect on your physical health. If there's anything, if your physical health is suffering, it affects your mental mind, right? So there's this beautiful connection which is there between the mind and the body. And in a natural state, in an ideal state, this mind-body connection, there's a lot of harmony and there's a lot of balance in it. And if a person is very, is in touch with the inner self, touch with the natural self, he is aware of this mind-body connection and is operating from that, self. But in this urban chase, in this mad chase for money, recognition, success, that we're all in this urban lifestyle, we've somewhere lost this, connection with the self. The mind and the body, they're not in harmony. We're not aware of this connection. We're also, we're not able to nurture this mind and body connection because we don't have time. We don't have time for self-care. We don't have time for self-love. So somewhere we've lost mindfulness, which I'm going to talk about. Somewhere we've lost this connection with our, somewhere we've lost awareness that this is beautifully connected and we need to nurture it and we need to balance it or harmonize it. Now, here is where the powerful tool of yoga comes into picture. Now, yoga is that powerful tool which has so many modalities which, when practiced by somebody consistently, can make you aware of your own self, brings you to the present. You're aware of what you're doing now. You're not bothered about the future, not bothered about the past. So you're not in the past, you're in the present. You're so mindful of what you're doing, your choices that you're making, everything. right? So be it asana practice, be it pranayam practice, be it the dhyan practice, so many modalities in yoga that help you bring your awareness to the present, to the moment that you're living. So mindfulness is a direct result of what you're doing. Now, let's say asana practice. In asana practice, you are aware. So, if you're practicing under an experienced teacher, your teacher would ask you to take your awareness to the muscles that are being worked upon, to what body part, you're working on. So there's a lot of awareness. So that helps you be in the present and not go here and there with your mind. So, that's building mindfulness. If you're doing pranayam practice, let's say simple, consciousness of what you're breathing or, your breath right now. If I ask you guys to just focus on how you're breathing, what your breathing rate is, if it's shallow or if it's, so you'll come in the present, you will stop thinking about anywhere else. So, that builds, mindfulness. Dhyan practice in itself is, the whole dhyan is about, being here. But when done consistently, this becomes your natural state. You don't, so that's why you have to take out time from your day to practice these modalities so that they become natural to you. And you're not here and there, right? It becomes part of you and you're living it. Let's say asana practice, it's also, everybody knows that it strengthens you, you're getting flexibility. It brings about so much balance to your body that if your physical body is okay, then your mind, so much awareness that your mind is also okay in that state. Modalities like pranayam, the yogic philosophy works on your emotional health, your emotions, your thoughts, right? So this practice in whole, so, we've lost, your mind is ideally supposed to be still and your body is supposed to be moving. But in this whole race that we're in, the mad chase in the urban lifestyles, our minds are constantly running, thinking, thoughts, emotions, this, that, and our bodies are still sedentary lifestyles. We're usually sitting, we hardly get up, we hardly take out time for ourselves to walk around, even do any kind of, physical. So I think this entire modern living has led to that disconnect, that led to that, imbalance in the whole, the way we're living. And yoga is what, brings it all together, brings mindfulness, brings that connection, strengthens that connection with yourself. So, yes, if I would urge everybody to take up yoga practice and take out some time in the day to take out any modality that you feel like working upon. Can be physical practice, meditation, could be, pranayam practice. All of them center you, balance you, and strengthen this connection.
Right. That was so great and insightful, ma'am. Thank you. So my first question would be, what kind of a diet best supports yoga practices?
Okay, so, if we go back into the ancient texts talk about a diet which is rooted in the sattva nature, which is fresh, natural, simple, easy to digest meals, that are natural, they're, they're fresh, and they're also, light on the body so that you can do your practices that you want to do. For an asana practice, you have to have a light body. Try and avoid meals which are over-processed, junk. So, I'm just also relating that ancient text to modern living, if we look at, right? Easy to digest light meals, avoiding any processed junk food, which can bring in lethargy, which can bring in, a lot of, I want to be in bed, I don't want to get up kind of an attitude, right? So, you try and get rid of those foods from the diet. You try and avoid overtly spicy and salty foods, sugary foods, which again, they're overstimulating in nature. Now, for the yogic practice, you ideally should not be, so coming to, modern, I would say maintaining a moderate diet, which is not in extremes. And like I said, mindfulness is something that is a byproduct of practicing yoga. So when you are so aware of your own inner nature, your body tells you what it wants. And if you listen to the body, how much to eat, what it wants at a particular time, not listening to the psychological hunger, but listening to the physical hunger, not listening to your emotions and thoughts, but your bodily hunger. So that connection becomes so strong that all of these things which are written in the ancient texts, they become natural. You don't have to force yourself to eat a certain way, right? Ancient texts, they give you guidelines and all, but if you're like, no, I don't want to eat this, I don't want to eat this, and you start practicing with that attitude, somewhere down the line, if you were forced to follow something, you will leave it very soon. But the constant practice will automatically, you'll start. So that's my clear example is I used to eat non-vegetarian food back then, okay? And I never forced myself to not eat. And I'm not saying that anybody who's practicing yoga, you can't practice yoga if you're eating non-vegetarian. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm saying is naturally it came to me that for my growth in this, yogic journey, it was a natural urge for me to leave it because I felt discomfort while I used to do asanas or pranayama practice because I felt heavy most of the time, right? So it is about listening to your body, what it's trying to tell you, and that connection anyways, like I said, yoga strengthens it. So it should naturally come to you. But like I said, a diet which is rich in fresh vegetables, fruits, a diet which is balanced, which is not containing processed foods, junk foods, not overtly salty, not overtly sweet. So that kind of a diet is what is recommended to grow higher in your yogic journeys, grow spiritually if that's the aim. Because that's the end goal of yoga is that union, right, with the supreme consciousness, with the whole. So if that's the goal in mind, then this is the kind of diet that you should be following.
Great. My second question would be, what are some key nutrients required for yoga practitioners?
Key nutrients, simple. You need energy-giving foods like carbohydrates, but ensure that the carbohydrates that you're eating, the whole grains like the oats, the wheat, the rice, all of them, they are rich in fiber and they're whole in nature, right? They're not refined. So that, because again, if it is refined, it is sugar. And if it is sugar, then it is going to be overstimulating for your practice. So you need whole grains in your diet, carbohydrates that are rich in fiber. Then you need protein because asana practice is, it requires strength. You need muscle strength to be able to perform asanas. You need protein for that. So you must have protein. I think the most important is vitamins and the minerals and antioxidants that you need, and you get them from fresh fruits and vegetables, like I said. And, there's a great emphasis on fruits and vegetables in the ancient texts also, So fresh fruits and vegetables. So you need vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. And yes, good fats that come from nuts and seeds. That's important, nutrient. And this does not. So we're all yogis, okay? So it applies to anybody and everybody. We might not be practicing yoga on the mat, but we're all somewhere or the other trying to practice yoga off the mat. So we're all yogis, and this is the kind of diet that we should all be having because we're all headed towards the same goal, which is connecting to our real self. And yeah, so it's not just someone who's practicing on the mat, but we all should be eating like this. And obviously hydration, water is key. And mindful eating, again, listening to your body and eating, how much you want to eat, how much your body requires. If you start listening, you will know if my body is craving for protein or if my body is craving for carbohydrates, right? So there is no rule to it. That's why I say there is no one diet fit all. You know what is best for you only if you know how to connect with your inner self. And that's what's important. That's what it is. Yes.
My third question would be, does yoga improve immune function? If yes, how?
Oh, yes, immunity does. Yoga, definitely. There's a lot of research. There are a lot of experiential learnings that state that yoga improves immunity. To give some examples, yoga is known to reduce stress and anxiety. Now, if it's reducing stress and anxiety, it is regulating your cortisol levels in the body. And if it is reducing your cortisol levels, you are improving and enhancing the immune function of the body. Yeah. Then yoga, the pranayama practice that we do, It is improving your respiratory system. It is enhancing your lung capacity, your oxygenation of the cells in the entire body. Your cells are properly oxygenated, lung capacity improved, your immunity is definitely better than others, right? So pranayama practice, there's a direct relationship to improving immunity. Blood circulation improves. Again, direct relationship with how your immunity is and how your immune system responds. The toxin removal, the lymphatic system in the body. It improves that circulation. Yoga asana practice, your toxins are removed better from the body. If the toxins are not in the body, your immunity definitely goes up, right? That happens. Your sleep gets better with yogic practices. There are endless, I would say, benefits of practicing yoga. Sleep gets better, you're sleeping better. Half your problems in life, they're gone. Your immunity is better. Metabolic rate, your gut is better. Practices like Paschimottanasana, the twisting poses that we do, all of them, they improve your digestion so much. And if your gut is happy, no disease, I would say, can touch you. So gut happy, you're happy, and immunity is also happy. So, I can keep going on. There's so many benefits, that you have. And so yes, immunity definitely gets better and this is experiential. And, there are a lot of research also done, but I can, with my experience, tell you that, students have seen, their immunities go up, because of yogic practices.
Right. Ma'am, any last message to your live audience?
Move your body. You can choose. Obviously, it is International Yoga Day, so I would urge you to take up, yoga asanas, because they not only work on the outer level of your body, they work internally. They improve your systems within the body, the organs. They bring balance to you. It is not just asana, all modalities. So please practice yoga, and yes, you will yourself see the difference. Then I won't have to say, if everyone practices yoga, I am a strong believer, there's world peace, there is happiness, and there's love all around. So if we want all of that, I think everybody should practice yoga.
That's great. Thank you so much, ma'am. Over to Businessworld, please.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Shikha ji. That was very insightful and very, very interesting. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you
so much. And thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure being here and spreading some knowledge. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We have our next speaker lined up, Satakshi Shiv Prasad Kukreti ji.
Yes, hi.
A very, very warm welcome to you and happy Yoga Day.
Happy Yoga Day to
We are
you.
so happy to have you here. Sanjana, you may please take it forward.
Sure. So a small introduction about Satakshi. Ms. Satakshi is a certified yoga trainer, Ayurvedic practitioner. She has profound knowledge on power yoga, meditation, pranayam, and aerial yoga. She is the founder of Ojasya Ayurveda as well. Thank you, ma'am, for coming on board with us on this special occasion.
Thank you, Sanjana, and happy Yoga Day to everyone who is watching this.
Happy Yoga Day, ma'am. Ma'am, so the topic which you chose was importance of pranayam and meditation in yoga. So if you can kindly enlighten us with your thoughts on it.
So yes, when we say pranayam and meditation, people are like, oh my God, this is very boring subject. Why we have to do pranayam? Let's go to gym and do some weights and all. But when we see in other perspective, okay, so pranayam gives us a breathing pattern. So pranayam is consists of 3 nadis, Ila, Pingala, and Shushumna. So when we balance our 3 nadis, then we are into that stage of mind when we reach to meditation. So pranayam is a pathway to reach to the meditation state. So pranayam is a pathway. So once we are doing pranayam, then we can obviously easily do the meditation. So that what is pranayam and meditation.
Okay. So, ma'am, my first question would be, what role does diet play in holistic health? Are there any specific dietary approaches recommended in holistic practices?
So being very honest, this is a very challenging question when it comes to like what to eat, what not to eat. We have to eat non-veg or not or veg, like sattvic khana khaye, kaisa khana khaye. But I will say, just listen to your body. If you want to eat something non-veg, go and eat it. It will not bar you with your practices. And at the same time, if you don't want to eat that, don't eat that. Just listen to your body, because our body speaks. Our body tells, as we know, when we are craving for ice cream, that's the same thing with the food. And when you just do practices of yoga, asana, and meditation, at a certain point of time, you leave it by yourself. So there is nothing called a proper diet for yoga practitioner or something else. Just listen to your body and go with the flow and just be happy whatever you are eating.
That was so nice. So my second question would be, how can herbs and supplement can be used safely and effectively for a specific health concern? Along with that, what are some important consideration when taking herbal remedies or supplements?
So when it comes to herbs and herbal medicines, so basically, if you'll see, it is our in kitchen only. Like if you can say amla, aloe vera, jeera, ajwain, this is only we are eating, and we are saying that these are the herbal medicines we are giving in tablet, we are giving in tea bag. This is the only we are eating. But when it comes to Ayurveda always says whatever you are eating or drinking, if you are taking amla take for 3 months, then stop it. Then take another herb, like take giloi for 3 months, then stop it, then switch to amla. So you have always, you have to switch up to 3 months. You have to switch with another like medicines or herbal supplements. So I always say to everyone, don't stick to anything. Like taking amla, it's a vitamin, like vitamin C. So giloi is also vitamin C. So
We've lost your voice, Satakshi ji.
Take 3 months giloi, then again switch giloi. So you have to hello.
Yeah, we lost your
Hello.
voice in between.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Now we can hear
Now
you.
is it clear?
Yes.
So yes. So I was saying, like, if in Ayurveda it is said that you have to take a herb up to 3 months, then you have to switch to another herb. So you have to do this practice every time, because our body is such a memory. Like if you are taking something like amla for 3-4 months, it will be like, okay, they are taking like this. But if you switch with some another herb, then they'll start acting in some another way. So in Ayurveda, it is totally written, you have to switch herbs in three months.
Okay, thank you. My third question would be, why is getting enough quality sleep important for holistic health? And are there any natural techniques to improve sleep quality?
Yes, sleep is very beautiful thing. First of all, it's anti-aging. Second, it gives us a very, very beautiful heart, beautiful thinking, beautiful subconscious mind, a full of manifestation energy. So yes, you have to sleep. And why sleep is important? Because nowadays we are connected to so much of gadgets, so much of energy of people. We need relax. Our mind, we are not the machines like we are doing 24 hours work. We need relaxation. And yes, so people don't like this Yog Nindra is a word. Yog Nindra is a word. I always say to people, try Yog Nindra, go and search on YouTube or Google and type Yog Nindra. You'll see the benefits like health. You just have to lie down on your mat, on your bed, and you have to listen whatever the person is saying and just absorb it. And trust me, I'll suggest you everyone try once Yog Nindra, and that will give you immense benefit in your sleep. And for sure, like breathing though always is there. Like do deep breathing before sleeping.
That's great. My last question would be, any message for our live audience on this occasion?
Yes. So basically, I'll say do mindful breathing. So we just do shallow breathing nowadays up to chest. So we have to breathe from stomach. Like breathe in, your stomach will come out, and breathe out, your stomach will get in. So just do mindful breathing. Everything will be okay.
Thank you so much for taking out time for us. Over to you, Bilkis ma'am.
Thank you so much, Satakshi ji. That was very, very nice speaking to you. And happy Yoga Day to you once again.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. And thank you for this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sanjana and Kavi, for helping for this webinar. It has been an incredible experience listening to all the speakers since morning. And I'm sure there are some very valuable takeaways for all of us. Incorporating yoga into our daily lives can be very, very transformative, offering physical, mental, and emotional benefits. Mindfulness is the key, and consistency is the key. We all can supplement the practice with healthy lifestyle choices like proper nutrition, adequate rest, and little adjustments in our lifestyle. Moreover, as communities embrace yoga, its ripple effects extend to society at large, promoting harmony, compassion, and connectedness. With these words, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to all the speakers and all the viewers who are watching us in this webinar. I also want to extend my thanks from my heart to Sanjana and Kavi for giving time for this. Have a great day, all of you. Let yoga take over. Bye bye.